pure, this is the one thing all Americans can agree on. Founder Mark Gus Scott chose the finest natural elements America has to offer, and you'll taste how great it is to be an American. Now available at Bevmo, GoPuff, Hy-Vee, and Fairway stores. American Premium Vodka. This is the America we need right now. Go to AmericanPremiumVodka.com. Celebrate responsibly.
Let's be honest. Most businesses don't struggle because demand is low. They struggle because their back end can't handle growth. Leads come in, but follow-up is slow. Calls get missed. Appointments don't get confirmed. And everything lives in different places. So even when marketing works, revenue doesn't scale. That's a systems problem. Create Assistance fixes this by building a done-for-you CRM and automation system that captures every lead, follows up automatically, confirms appointments, and keeps everything organized in one place. And only after that foundation is built, AI voice and chat employees get added on. If your business feels chaotic behind the scenes, it's time to fix the back end. Visit createassistance.ai and book your call today. Or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
It was the Roman poet Virgil who said, "Easy is the descent to hell. All night long, all day, the doors of dark Hades stand open. But to retrace the path, to come out again to the sweet air of heaven, there is the task, there is the burden. If I cannot move heaven, I will raise hell." We'll talk about that later, but now it's time for Rick Tittle and Titillating Sports on Sports Byline USA. All right, thank you for that. What goes on in here? All right, levels. Okay, I think we're ready to go. It's live radio. I'm Rick Tittle. We're embarking on a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. The ship went down on the crew. Okay. Uncharted desert. I'm cracking myself up. Rick Tittle with you coast to coast around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. Sports Byline USA, Titillating Sports. I'm your eponymous host, and I would love to hear from you if you want to talk about football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, golf, tennis, auto racing, boxing, Olympics, Quidditch, rollerball, chess, checkers, rugby, cricket, that type of stuff. Just let us know at the toll-free line. Don't write it down. Dial it up. We'll pay for the call. 1-800-878-PLAY. You'll pay for my cell phone plan? I didn't say that. Rick, you think we're dumb. You always do our voices like this. I don't think you're dumb. That's with great affection and reverence and endearment. 1-800-878-PLAY. You ain't got no alibi. You're ugly. We do have guests. When do we not? We will have a filmmaker and Karen Lyle along with another filmmaker, Andy Cross. That'll join us first hour. Second hour, Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet will check in. And he is going to talk a little NHL as the season is wrapping up there. Author Lucy Ashe has a new thriller called The Model Patient. And then in the third hour, Lena Hall will be in studio, the Tony Award-winning talent. She's on Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple and Apple TV, Season 2 underway. Director Sascha Gardner will join us for the Jailblazers documentary from Untold on Netflix. So a lot going on today on the show. Find a window, get in, have your say. You can email me, Rick at Sports Byline as well. Come on back. Let's do this.
Right now, you can switch from cable television to satellite television for free. That's right, we're offering free equipment, free installation, plus get a free $100 prepaid Visa card. Call the Satellite TV hotline right now. Make the switch from cable to satellite television and expand your viewing horizon. On top of free installation, for a limited time, we're offering a fixed price guarantee. With satellite TV, you'll save money over your expensive cable bill. Plus, get access to hundreds of channels. And when you call right now, you can also ask about our seniors and military discounts. So make the switch to satellite TV right now. Everybody gets free installation, free equipment, plus a $100 prepaid Visa card. Call right now and you can switch to satellite TV and be watching everything you wanted to within the next week. And remember, installation's free, so call right now. 800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. 800-696-2871. That's 800-696-2871.
Do you want to add a boost to your sex life this weekend? Do you want to make your partner and yourself happy? Then call our special hotline now. We'll sell you those little pills that work below the belt for less than $1 a pill and deliver your package in a few days, just in time for the weekend. Our pill delivers almost the same results as expensive pills for less than $1 a piece, and you don't need a prescription. And ask about their buy 3 get 3 free offer. What are you waiting for? Boost your sex life and have a great time now. Less than $1 a pill, discreet delivery in a few days, and a buy 3 get 3 free offer? Dial this number and save it now.
800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. That's 800-245-2751. Paid for by the Pharmacy Shop.
This important consumer alert is from the Credit Repair Hotline, a national service designed to help people improve their credit scores. Are you paying high interest rates because of your credit rating? Wouldn't you like to be able to qualify for a better car loan or mortgage rate? Would lower monthly payments give you more financial flexibility? If you're finally ready to fix your credit problem, you need to call today and get a free consultation from the Credit Hotline. In one fast and easy call, we can pull your credit rating and show you real solutions how to improve credit. And again, this is part of a 100% free consultation. Learn how you can save money on everyday purchases by having a better credit rating. And it all starts with a phone call right now.
800-413-6214. 800-413-6214. 800-413-6214. That's 800-413-6214.
Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. Rick Tittle is a genius, the best show ever. So wonderful, genius, the best show ever. He's so wonderful. Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. Isn't he so handsome? He's a genius.
You're now listening to The Rick Tittle Show. Good for you.
All right, good for you is right. What is going on? 1-800-878-PLAY, a really big shoe on a size 17 Shaq. I wonder what size he wears. I've stood next to Shaq. I've taken a picture with Shaq. He's a big guy, but he's nothing next to Yao Ming. And say that Yao Ming is the only person on Earth that makes Shaq feel regular size. I remember Yao Ming before a Rockets game at the Coliseum. I was in the tunnel and he just walked by me, and I'm not a small guy myself. I'm a 6'2" former college football player who could probably stand to lose a few pounds, let's be honest. But his thighs were the size of my waist. And I was like, good gosh. All right, really big show. Yesterday, we had the WNBA draft. And this is the first time I kind of paid attention to it. And there was just an absolute bizarre situation that no one can really explain. And and that is that the Golden State Valkyries at 8 overall took show veteran Flau'jae Johnson out of LSU, and she went up with Commissioner Engelhardt held up the violet jersey, and everybody started tweeting out, "She looks good in purple," obviously because she was LSU. And people were getting fired up. Flau'jae Johnson, an All-American, 8 overall. And then we heard that she got traded, and my initial reaction was, it's typical, because that happens on draft night. You know, the Warriors drafted Penny Hardaway and flipped him. You know, there are all sorts of decisions like that. I mean, the Hawks drafted Luka Doncic and flipped him. You can do stuff like that. But Johnson, who seemed like she'd be a good fit here in the Bay Area on and off the court, all of a sudden got flipped for 2 second-round picks. And Marta Suarez is a fun player. She went to 3 colleges. She was 2 years here at Cal. She shoots threes, which is what they need. But I don't understand and no one does because she didn't explain it. Ohima Nianen is the GM of Golden State. And I don't think she understands the draft. You know, and she's not, Jeff Lageman, Bob Skowski. I can name a few. And not Jamarcus Russell, because that was his value. You have to go with perceived value. We don't know how these players are going to, So Jamarcus Russell wasn't a reach. It just turned out that he didn't give a damn. Bob Buxkowski was a reach. Jeff Lageman with the Jets was a reach. Sometimes you'd say, why would you take Edgerrin James over and you'd say, well, Edgerrin James is going to be better because he catches the ball better. And the Colts ended up looking pretty good with the Edgerrin James pick. But if you don't understand about trading and trading down, drafting somebody for somebody else, why would you ever trade 8 overall for a 2 this year and a 2 in 2 years? So what happened was the very first pick of the second round, 16 overall, went to expansion team Seattle, and they took Marta Suarez. And then that is when I always want to say Warriors because it's the Valkyries flipped her plus a 2 in 2028. So the press were like, what was that all about? Ohima Nianen. Golden State GM said, when I'm ready to speak more about what the strategy is behind it, I'll speak on it. I don't really speak about my strategy publicly because other teams are watching. I'm going to take a beat to be able to eloquently give a response. I don't have a lot of details to share. 1, because I'm exhausted. 2, because I want to be very thoughtful when I'm talking about other humans and their basketball abilities and how they would or would not show up for our squad. All right, well, 2 things about I'm exhausted. And you can say what you want. This isn't sexist. No man would ever say, I'm exhausted. No GM. I mean, not man. Plenty of men say that. No a professional sports team on draft night would go, I can't really talk right now because 1, I'm exhausted. That's brutal. And there are plenty of women in the world, I would say most women in the world, that would love to have that job and won't be exhausted. So that is brutal. And then to say, I don't care about other humans and their basketball abilities and how they would or would not show up for our squad. So you're saying that Flau'jae Johnson's skills would not show up for your squad? And so they said, so did you agree to this trade before the draft? And she was like, no comment. And then after the backlash, she was like, yes, this was in place. And Seattle was like, we had no idea that we would end up with Flau'jae Johnson for 2 2s. They're over the moon. Now, Flau'jae Johnson is not Caitlin Clark or some of the other huge stars, but she is an established All-American. And she's been on my show, so you know she's cool. And Suarez is not useless. She's 6'3", is apparently a very fun player to watch, and she, shoots threes. A lot of people said she's too old. She's in her mid-20s. She can't physically hang in the pros. And then the Warriors. The Valkyries drafted a player out of Kentucky who said she can't dribble ball handle in professional basketball. These are just rundowns. Remember, the scouting report on Steph was he dribbles himself into trouble and he can't pass. But can't dribble or ball handle in the pros ain't good. And then they drafted a player from the Japanese league who nobody ever heard of, but that doesn't mean that, who heard of Tony Parker, right? So I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. The Japanese player is named Koro Tanaka, played for the Ineos Sunflowers in the Japanese league. 27.5% from three-point line. That ain't great. That's less than 3 out of every 10 shots. Whew. So, but Flau'jae Johnson, a 4-year career, a national champion, All-American. I don't really get it. But if you just say, look, we wanted that second round pick in 2 years. We were willing to give up 8 overall. We wanted Marta Suarez the whole time. So if Seattle didn't draft her at 16, this trade wouldn't have gone through. This is the reason. This is the process. Be everybody going, I don't get it. But when you say, I'm exhausted and I want to formulate my thoughts better before I talk about this, it almost was like to Flau'jae Johnson, you ready to be a Valk? And then she said, screw the Valks. I hate you guys. You guys suck. San Francisco is a toilet. Oh, it is, huh? Okay, then we're trading you. I mean, I would rather have it be that and make it make sense. But then again, I'm not a huge Valks. I'm not going to cry about it, but I will bring it up because it was the stupidest explanation, man or woman, I've ever heard from a GM. All right, let's take a quick break. We will come on back with filmmaker Michael Tove.
Like the legend of the Phoenix. I'm holding in my hand the American Silver Eagle dollar. It's a beautiful piece of American history, and it's 1 ounce of silver. Originally minted in 1986, these coins are a beautiful piece of American history, and they're a great investment you should add to your portfolio. The beauty of silver is that however much you have available to invest, silver is affordable and easy to acquire, with one coin costing around $30. So, if you choose to invest a few thousand in silver, you can get quite a bit for your money, and you'll have a 10 asset that you can hold, one you can be proud to own. Claim your piece of American history with American Silver Eagle dollars. Call the Silver Hotline right now.
800-620-1624. 800-620-1624. 800-620-1624. That's 800-620-1624.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now. Find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. 800-943 9215. And for the last time, that's 800-943-9215.
Do you want to add a boost to your sex life this weekend? Do you want to make your partner and yourself happy? Then call our special hotline now. We'll sell you those little pills that work below the belt for less than $1 a pill and deliver your package in a few days, just in time for the weekend. Our pill delivers all the same results as expensive pills for less than $1 a piece, and you don't need a prescription. And ask about their buy 3 get free offer. What are you waiting for? Boost your sex life and have a great time now. Less than $1 a pill, discreet delivery in a few days, and a buy 3 get 3 free offer? Dial this number and save it now.
800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. 800-245-2751. That's 800-245-2751. Paid for by the pharmacy shop.
By noon, I need 8,000 hens moved into their new cages. Now, sometimes they don't want to cooperate, but you give them a good shaking, they'll settle down for you.
Do the chickens have large talons?
Do they have what?
Large talons.
I don't understand a word you just said.
Cares about anything else when you've got Rick Tittle on the radio.
Thank you for that, and welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. It's our pleasure to welcome to the show veteran filmmaker Michael Tove, and he's here to talk about his award-winning short film, Yard Sailing, and that's S-A-L-E-I-N-G. First of all, Michael, my apologies if you say Tove, or do you say Tove?
No, it's Tove.
All right. Good. Yeah. It's anglicized. All right. Let's talk about this.
Okay, well, right, yeah.
Let's talk about this film and how it all kind of came together in your mind.
Oh, good Lord. Well, the film came out of an idea that has been floating around in my head for a very long time. When I was little, I was a big fan of the stories of O. Henry or The Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock, those types of stories that lead you down false paths and then essentially got from under you and go, uh-oh, that was not what I expected. So that type of thing. And that was sort of the genesis of it. Quite some time ago, I had the opportunity to talk about the original idea with Sharon Coates, who was a casting director for, among others, Steven Spielberg for Jaws, Close Encounters, and so forth. And she was adamant that it was a film that I had to make. And so I didn't have the wherewithal or the resources for a very long time, but then I became friends with Tom Logan, who was a veteran director. And not quite 2 years ago, we were discussing things, and I threw out the idea, and he said, let's take a look at it. And from that point forward, we were in pre-production. I mean, it was pretty fast once it started.
When you start to make a film, is it always it's going to be a feature and then you kind of find yourself, actually, this is better at 16, 17 minutes? Or do you think in the beginning?
No.
Okay. So
No, this was never going to be a feature. And so when you're designing stories to be films, one of the very first things you want to determine is just how quickly can you tell the story. Features are hideously expensive to put together and incredibly complicated. So sometimes a short is as attractive as a way as anything. I'm in the process of doing a short right now, and I knew it was going to be a short from the get-go because it only takes a few minutes to tell the story, it's important not to overtell something just for the sake of it being long. So the subject, the story itself dictates to a large extent what you're doing.
So tell us a little bit about the plot, because one of the words, and I love this adjective, Hitchcockian.
Yeah, and for the record, I didn't start that. That was sort of thrown at me by others, and the first time I heard it, I was like, really? Wow. So with yard selling, the caveat is that if I tell too much, then I'll spoil it. And so I'll simply plug and say that my website, emeraldoakproductions.com, has a link to actually watch the film.
So Eric Roberts is in this, and he was
Eric.
He was on my show years ago, and his agenda was, this is just a true story, his agenda was erectile dysfunction medicine. And 3 times during the interview, he goes, but I don't need it personally. And I kind of felt like saying, well, if you're pushing this product, you probably should say you use it. But anyway, Eric is a lot of fun, in many different ways. He is a character. Tell me about working with him, please.
Well, I think the world of Eric and Eliza and their friends, and I didn't know them before the film. When you get around them as you have, they're just really, really great people, and so there was just a click. I don't know how else to put it, but I was in LA last month and took an occasion to go have lunch with Eric and Eliza, and we just had a blast. Eric is a lot of fun. He's definitely a character, but at the end of the day, he's a big sweetheart, and Eliza, his wife, just flat out the nicest person you'll ever know. And so big stars, they really are, is just people who have become very successful what they're doing and love what they're doing. Eric was talking about, and I don't remember if it was when we were at lunch or on one of the interviews, but he was talking about that what he does for the love of it, and he doesn't care fame or anything like that. He just does what he does because it's what feeds his soul. And so many of the people that I know in the industry that I would spend any time around are exactly the same way. And it's just it's just a passion, I guess, the best I can say.
Mm-hmm. And you're also, I think, a great tale for perseverance in the industry, because some people are like, well, I'm 32 and it hasn't happened, so I'm giving up. But you always kept grinding, didn't you?
Yeah, I am accused of being the most persistent son of a gun anybody's ever known. And it's because I'm stubborn. I mean, I've also known that when you have a legitimate dream, a passion, and you're willing to work for it, and I must say that there's a world of difference, because I know a lot of people that have this dream, but they want it to come to them rather than they're going to chase after it until either they get it or they die trying. And there's a difference between a dream and a pipe dream. And a dream requires an enormous amount of work and an assumption that you will never, ever, ever give up. And that's just the way I've always been, I guess. Eric talks about that too. That matter of you chase it, it'll never chase you, I think is a quote.
And then finally, for you, because I know you were a writer as well, and it's a different discipline, obviously.
Well, that's really what it is. I mean, a writer, and then for that chase is that okay? I've written this thing that I think is great. Now I got to do something about it. So I was a writer first.
And then did you take to it like a fish to water, or did you kind of find yourself like feeling out because we all learn from our mentors and teachers when it comes to things like directing.
Well, okay, I don't direct. I'm not a director. Tom Logan was the director. But but when it comes to writing and producing, it's like professional athletics. You see the result on the field. You don't see the incredible hours and hours and hours of effort behind the scenes. I did years of training once I decided I had to do this. I was training for years and years and years. And nobody is going to just wake up one day and say, "Ooh, I want to write a movie," or "I want to do this," or "I want to do that," and sit there and it suddenly happens. It takes work.
Well, everybody should check this out. Where can we get our eyeballs on yard sailing?
Well, like I said, the website, emeraldoakproductions.com, and then go in there and you will see yard sailing. And then just below it is a place to click a link to watch the film right on your screen.
There he is, Michael Tove, the filmmaker, Yard Sailing. Check it out. Hey, Michael, congrats on this. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show, too.
All right, sure. Our pleasure. By the way, Eric Roberts talked about his wife, Liza. If you watched Animal House, you might remember the going to the sorority and Tim Matheson pretending to be the boyfriend of the girl who passed away, and 2 girls went with them on the road trip. Can we dance with your dates? If I was you, I'd be leaving. What a great idea. She was one of those girls back in the day. All right, let's get down on the bay with a little sailing coming up next, and a little adventuring as well on sailsporttalk.com.
I've got a question for you. Do you want a lower car payment just by making a phone call? You know, most people buy a car and they pay whatever the car dealer says their interest rate is, and they forget about make payments. But did you know there's a secret in your contract that allows another company to refinance any car payment to try and lower it? It's true. There is indeed a company out there that knows the ins and, more importantly, outs on car loans. They know how to lower current car payments. It's easy and fast, and you could have a lower car payment next month. Make a free call right now and find out you could lower your existing car payment. Call the Car Savings Hotline right now. The call is free.
Call now. 800-605-1680. 800-605-1680. 800-605-1680. That's 800-605-1680.
Life insurance is one of those things that just about everybody needs, but few people actually have. Hey, if you die unexpectedly without life insurance, guess what? You'll leave your family with even a bigger mess. Life insurance will help replace your family's income. It'll help cover burial expenses. Life insurance can even help pay off debt like credit cards and medical bills. Life insurance can even pay for college. And if you own a business and you die, life insurance can help your business from collapsing. It can even help cover estate taxes. Life insurance has never been more affordable and needed. Plus, you can always shop around even if you have a plan and save some money. So call the Life Insurance Quote Line right now for free pricing information.
800-915-9654. 800-915-9654.
800 915 9654. That's 800 915 9654.
Have you suffered sports betting losses? There is someone who wants to fight for you to see you get back what you have lost to those sports betting companies. Michael Watts is a prolific trial lawyer with over $11 billion in total recoveries for his clients. And now with sportsbettingclaim.com, he'd like to help you. Michael has been a leader in some of the largest and most complex cases in the country, from defective cars and tires to damaging drugs and medical products. He has always represented the rights of individuals harmed by large corporations. His efforts recently resulted in the recovery of billions for individuals who lost their properties to fires carelessly caused by electric companies and others. Michael knows that sports betting companies preyed on and manipulated consumers into losing life savings, and he wants to make them pay. If you have suffered financial hardship as a result of online sports betting and would like help seeking compensation, please submit your claim information for evaluation at sportsbettingclaim.com. Michael Watts is focused on working for you. sportsbettingclaim.com.
Thank you for that, and welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you, coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. It's 9:40 on a Tuesday, Pacific time. It's time to check in with our friends at SalesPortTalk.com, and co-hosting the segment with me once again is Karen Lyle. Karen, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Rick. And, you know, it's that time of year again with the International Film Festival. And we have a filmmaker, Andy Cross, who's actually just finished shooting her film and is on her way across the country by car. And she's on the line waiting to talk to us.
All right.
Hi
well, I don't know if she was an intro or not, but yes, Andy Cross is with us. Andy Cross, producer, writer, narrator of the film Edges of the Earth, a very ambitious project. Andy, please, first of all, welcome. Tell us more.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, we've my team and I have been in the field for the last 3 years, traveling all around the world, looking for what we call positive outliers, or teams who are succeeding against the odds in the face of the climate crisis, or they might not have many resources or much access, but they've figured out a solution and they are pushing it forward. So we've been to 47 countries in the last 3 years, and we've lived among about 250 local communities. So it's been a pretty incredible journey. And yes, I am back home in the United States, and I'm heading to New York as we speak.
Andy, I got a chance to see your film, and I just really appreciated the absolutely amazing filmmaking, you know, the cinematography, a lot of the places that you showed, you know, in Serengeti, in the kelp forests, in Australia, up in the glaciers, in different parts of Asia were just amazing. I've been to many of those places on the edge, but not all of them. I have a question for you. How do you prepare for each of these climates? Because you're going into very different locations. Very big difference between a very hot location and, say, for example, a glacier. Do you have much time in between your trips to prepare?
Yes, that's a very good question. Thanks for asking. So prior to going on this expedition, I spent 5 years training for extreme diving conditions. And so that included working in some of the hottest environments and some of the coldest, and working with some experts who specialize in those areas. So there's a lot of preparation going into this, especially to dive the glaciers. And then when we were on our expedition trail, we were going to location back to back, but we'd have moments where we would do gear swaps in our 2 home bases, which is in the States and in Australia. So we would try to do a lot of our tropical legs back to back, and then we'd go into our cold. But it was a lot of effort managing the gear, because you obviously need gear for all of these different environments. And that is one of the big struggles of traveling around the world, is making sure you have the right stuff at the right time. So we spent a lot of time preparing in the upfront, so we would be ready to just go on this continuous expedition trail back to back.
So, Andy, you're working in New York a decade, you're corporate, and then you tell everyone, I'm moving to Perth to become a professional diver. Do people say, it's just a phase? And you're like, no, I'm moving to Perth to be a diver. How did that all come together?
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone thought it was a phase. It's a phase that has, I'm still in very heavily. No, everyone thought I was crazy to book a one-way trip to Australia and leave everything behind. But it was, I couldn't unsee the underwater world after I got my first taste of it. And Australia felt like an incredible place to further the training. It has some of the harshest and most difficult diving conditions in the world, and also some of the best dive trainers. I was really lucky to have someone take me under their wing who's an incredible technical diver. So I was in the right place at the right time. And then I think everyone started to realize 6 years later that this phase might not be something that is something I abandon easily.
I understand. I did my my diving training in Monterey, with the kelp there, and it's cold enough. You have to. It's not the glaciers, but it is definitely quite cold there, and it's really amazing. That concept of neutral buoyancy, where you just achieve that little balance, and you're waiting and watching things around you under the water. How did that happen for you on land when you're meeting these different people who have these different solutions for how they're handling the climate change experiences they're having?
Yeah, so when we first started planning our expedition in 2021, we would do quite a bit of outreach to teams and groups that we knew had really solid positive solutions. And with time, we just started to get more connected to the right people in the right places. And the more and more we were traveling, the more we were just learning about these incredible teams. And what started just ocean focused turned into 50-50 land and sea, because there's so much amazing work happening both topside and underwater. But the more relationships that we were building, the more doors were opening and the more stories we were hearing and the more publishing opportunities we were getting. And it all just started to snowball. Now, today, when we're thinking about some of the best projects we've seen, it's when restoration, conservation, protection efforts can be scaled. So looking at projects that have the ability to take what they're doing in their hometown or in their home community and extend it well beyond. So if something's working in New York, could this also work in Baltimore? Could this also work in San Francisco? So looking at teams, both land and sea, that have that ability to truly scale if they receive the right resources, funding, team support, and visibility.
Rick Tittle and Karen Lyle speaking to Andy Cross. Andy, you also, multi-talented. You also are an advisor. You're a consultant. You will do speaking engagements. At what part of your career when you decided, you know what, I can give back now. I can teach I can tell people what to do, what not to do. I've been through the hard knocks here.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. Spending your career in corporate and learning from institutions with so many amazing experts is incredibly helpful, but you also don't really know what's out there until you go and explore. So I wanted to have the best of both worlds, to have that corporate background, but also to live on the front lines of the climate crisis in places that were just getting hit the hardest with it, vulnerable communities, coastal communities. So having that split experience and being able to speak to scientists, academics, researchers, and also decision makers, policymakers, business leaders, it's been quite useful. And one of the things that I'm seeing on the edges is that a lot of people are more interested in going out and exploring right out of school, or maybe not even choosing the academic pathway and abandoning an idea of a full career. And it's one of the things that I actually am most thankful for, is having that expertise and spending the time honing in on a very particular skill, because I'm finding that's what the ocean community, the conservation community needs more than ever right now. So a lot of my work is centered on explaining the duality of this and saying, yes, you want to get exposure and you want to explore and you want to go diving and you want to experience what life is like on the edges of Earth. but at the same time, there's a lot of value in building up a skill set. So that's what I like to talk about quite a bit and pass that on to the next generation, but also the teams that I work most closely with.
Well, Andy, you and I are both from international cities. Me, San Francisco. You, New York. And one of the questions that came to mind when I was looking at this concept of positive diversion is when you went to these remote areas where there's small groups of people, were the people coming up with the solutions who were divergent, as you say, or coming up with something really different, were they celebrated in their community, or were they not supported? I'm curious about that because cities don't always support diversion.
Sure, that's a great question. A lot of the communities that I've visited, if a local individual or family or team birthed some sort of big idea, they were often met with adversity to start. So to give an example, in Mexico, Cabo Pumo in Baja California, the community realized that they were depleting their resources quite heavily in the ocean. They were overfishing and they were losing their fish stocks and their livelihood. And the Castro family decided that they wanted to protect their ocean and create an MPA, Marine Protected Area. And others in the community were so against this because they felt like it was cutting off their way of life. Fishing and extracting from the ocean is how they all survived. So the Castro family decided to work with a local university to help put in the best practices for how they could manage an MPA, what that MPA would look like if successful, how fish stocks would rebound. And they spent years and years and years trying to get support, and eventually they were able to. So it's a very long journey for a lot of these communities to see their idea and realize it, but with a lot of perseverance and support from not only the scientific and academic communities, but also from big donors and philanthropic support, these groups are able to make it happen. And that's what we call positive deviance, when a team or a community or an individual against the odds sets out to achieve something like this, doesn't let those setbacks get in their way, and has a repeatable model that could be successful in other communities. We see it quite a bit. And then in the big cities, you see it as well. You know, there's permitting issues, there's policymakers who might not support certain initiatives. There might be development roadblocks where, you know, the city is trying to expand and grow further, and the conservation efforts might not be aligned with those development goals. So from the smallest communities in the world to some of the biggest, there's always some challenges that these teams are up against, and it's up to them to figure out how they can keep pushing through and what they need to make their vision real.
Great stuff from Andy Cross. The film is called Edges of Earth. It's making the film circuit, International Ocean Film Festival right now as well. You can go to andycross.com to see all that she has impacted and has to offer as well, and that's Andy with an I. Andy, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Andy.
And Karen, good guest. Nice booking.
Yeah, well, we can thank Ana Blanco, the director of the film festival, for having introduced us. And I loved it. I loved the film. It was really amazing to watch.
All right, good stuff. And we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, we will indeed. Thank you, Rick.
All right, everybody go to salesportstalk.com. I'm Rick Tittle. Come on back for more of Titillating Sports.
Keep listening for details on how to get up to $300 airline credit. Sky Holidays introduces a one-of-a-kind air credit program. Our buying team got a little too aggressive in getting hotel and air deals, so now we have to liquidate our prices. Here's how. Whether you want to go to Paris, Las Vegas, London, Atlanta, Hawaii, or anywhere else in the world, we have amazing deals. Book a selected hotel and we'll give you up to $300 airline credit. Now you can book your vacation and get a free credit to use towards airline travel. We'll book both, airline and hotel, with one simple phone call. We have access to most airlines and deals on thousands and thousands of places to stay. Call right now, book your hotel rooms, claim your airline credit. You can change or modify it at any time. 800-256-4816. 800-256-4816. That's 800-256-4816.
It's more than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work, real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
This is a true, sad story for ADT, the leader in home security systems. My favorite dog, Oliver, was stolen from our garage recently. If I had a camera system installed in my home from ADT, I would have known exactly what car possibly pulled up in my driveway and stole my little friend. If I had a security system from ADT, my dog would still be here. I called ADT this weekend, and they're coming out in a few days to install a camera and a new security system. Unfortunately, it's a little too late for me. Listen, protect everyone you love in your family. Call ADT now. Have them come out and give you a quote to install a full security system in your home. Don't let it be too late for you. Call right now.
Paid for by the Home Security Hotline. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. That's 800-361-3491.
This is special too. It's look, see, still got the old tagger on it. See, never even played it. See?
You just bought it?
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
I wasn't going to touch it.
No, don't touch it.
I was just pointing at it.
Well, don't point even.
Don't even point?
No, it can't be played. Never. I mean,
Can I look at it?
No, you've seen
Don't
enough
look
of
at
that one.
I'm so disgusted by Rick Tittle that I find him very intoxicating.
All right, thank you for that. I'm someone who loves drafts. Conscription? No. Draft beer? Yes. No, I'm just talking about sports drafts, and you hear that ESPN, bling, bling, the pick is in. So I got a text from Byline people yesterday, and it said, Tittle vet going to the Valks. And the other guy's like, yeah, it was Dom and Darren. But I was like, Caitlin Clark, it's not her. And they went, no, Flau'jae Johnson. I went, oh, the draft is on. And then I got a text, nope, been traded for 2 twos. And I thought, all right, I got to turn this on. And, you hear that boodling, boodling, and that's always fun. But what's lame, let me use another word, lame, is that for the second and third rounds, they just had the guy hosting it, this bald guy. Why is he got to be bald? All right, sorry. The host, and he was doing a good job. He was at the panel, with a couple of former players, and then they would bring on AZ Fudd, number 1 pick. Get more into that later, but anyway. And he'd be having a conversation and be like, okay, the pick is in with the 18th overall pick, the Dallas Wings select. And I'm like, really? You can't have the commissioner do 3 rounds of 45 picks? Is that too much for her? Can you at least send out the deputy commissioner like they do in other sports? To have the TV guy go, but okay, sounds good. All right. By the way, the pick is in with the 25th overall pick, the New York Liberties. I'm like, come on, man. I thought that was stupid, but I do love hearing bling, bling. All right, come on back. On Sports Byline, we got 2 more hours.
I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-minute warning. When free agent NFL quarterback Kirk Cousins first signed with the Las Vegas Raiders earlier this month, I had noted how many pundits championed the decision. And while I don't want to bag on the talking heads paid to pontificate, a week later many are still doing so by setting countdown clocks on how long it will take before the expected first pick in the draft, Fernando Mendoza, takes over. It's become accepted practice to throw a rookie quarterback and their cap money to the Wolves, so it only makes sense to wonder how much patience the Raiders will have. But I still think they're going to have a lot more than people expect, which is really something novel considering the history of the Raiders, but times seem to have finally changed. While the late owner Al Davis' son Mark continues to control the operations of the franchise, the team turned to minority owner Tom Brady and his longtime friend and general manager John Spytek to revamp things. In an interview with ESPN this week, Spytek talked about the importance of having patience with young players. When talking about young quarterbacks being thrust into situations they weren't ready for, Spytek noted, "I think more organizations failed those kids than those kids failed the organizations." Spytek's teammate at Michigan State, Tom Brady, knows as well as anyone what a year without the spotlight can do for a young quarterback. When he was drafted in 2000 by the New England Patriots, it wasn't even guaranteed that Brady would make the team. He did, but he sat and learned from his head coach Bill Belichick, from offensive coordinator Charles Weiss, and from the veteran starter Drew Bledsoe. What to do, what not to do, and how to lead. When Cousins was drafted in 2012 by the then Washington Redskins, he knew he'd probably make the team, but he also knew he wasn't starting. So he sat and learned. From a staff which included Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, and Matt LaFleur, Cousins learned what to do, what not to do, and how to lead, and he was able to do so as he watched the trials and tribulations of fellow Robert Griffin III. By the way, Mike McDaniel and Sean McVay were also at the time, just to remind you how bad the franchise fumbled its future. In February, the Raiders hired new head coach Clint Kubiak. While both were in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins had 3 of the best years of his career. At this stage, it's impossible for me to believe that Kubiak and Cousins won't work well together and get some use out of the young weapons the Raiders have. And while they do, it gives Mendoza a chance to learn at a more relaxed pace and without the pressure he'd face as a starter. Taking snaps from under center, getting comfortable in the pocket, and then learning how to deal with the pressure in said pocket, throwing deep balls consistently at this level, there's a lot to learn. Maybe most importantly, how to make your teammates believe in you and want to follow you into battle. Something Brady, Cousins, and Kubiak, last year's Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator with the Seahawks, have a darn good history of. I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-minute warning.
Have you been daydreaming about losing weight for years? Do you just yo-yo back and forth? At Innovative Wellness Center, we have a holistic weight loss program that allows you to lose up to 20 pounds in 30 days. People are losing weight like crazy and keeping it off. It can be done from anywhere in the United States. Go to our website at www.innovativewellness.center and schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Soccer season rolls on here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. This is Tyler Levine, host of First Touch, the premier weekly global soccer show across the entire Sports Byline broadcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Simple Radio, and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. We're talking English Premier League, Champions League, picks of the week, and a whole lot more. First Touch, Sports Byline USA, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
Getting together with friends to watch the game? Then you'll need American Premium Vodka. Handcrafted and pure, this is the one thing all Americans can agree on. Founder Mark Gus Scott chose the finest natural elements America has to offer, and you'll taste how great it is to be an American. Now available at Bevmo, GoPuff, Hy-Vee, and Fairway stores. American Premium Vodka. This is the America we need right now. Go to AmericanPremiumVodka.com. Celebrate responsibly.
Quick question. How many calls, texts, or messages does your business miss every week? Nights, weekends, busy days. That's lost money. Create Assistance helps businesses fix that problem using AI employees to answer calls, respond to texts, book appointments, and follow up with leads 24/7 automatically. No extra staff, no complicated software. Everything runs inside one simple command center that replaces scattered tools, missed follow-ups, and manual busy work. Whether you're a service business, office, or multi-location company, Create Assistant keeps your business responsive, organized, and running even when you're off the clock. Stop letting leads slip through the cracks. Visit createassistance.ai to book a free call, or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
Rick Tittle knows his sports.
I hate that guy.
I love that guy. Oh my gosh, he's so fine. Rick Tittle on the bacon, fries it up in a pan, and then he eats it.
Ricky T in the hizzle for shizzle biznatch.
Hour 2 underway. Bruce Marshall, Lucy Ashe scheduled to appear, and then some open lines around 10:40. The Triple Crown made a little bit of a shakeup. Apparently, the Preakness Stakes will move back 1 week later in May, 3 weeks after the Kentucky Derby instead of 2. Now, this is not this year, but beginning next year. The reason is it's to allow horses to try to compete in all 3 legs of the famous Triple Crown, which we don't really get anymore. And it seems, I don't want to say every year, it seems like maybe every other year the horse wins the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, it's not going to race. What? Yeah, he's a little tired. He's a little tired? Isn't it 2 weeks? That's too soon. And look, the health of the horse, it's a multi-million-dollar investment at that stage. I get it. And plus, just as far as being compassionate, you don't want the horse to drop dead, whether it's a big investment or not. So I get it. And because in the old days, your horse is tired, I got a chance to win a Triple Crown, run his ass out there. And well, they don't do that anymore. And so, you know, I've yet to see a horse win the first 2 and then race. That would be bizarre, but we can give you many examples of the Kentucky Derby winner just gone, nah, we'll see you at Pimlico. What? Yeah, we're done. So that's a good idea. And, I mean, I assume it'll pay dividends that will allow people to have more time to race their racehorses. Racehorse is a palindrome, No, that's race car. Oh, yeah, you're right. 1-800-878-PLAY, TuneIn app, iHeartRadio app, Stitcher app, Twitch.tv, and YouTube.tv. And an hour from now, we will have the lovely and talented Lena Hall from Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. She's also a huge Broadway star as well. Very talented woman will join us in studio as well. The Twitter is at Rick Tittle, so come on back.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you from Senior Care USA. The average funeral now costs over $10,000. That leaves your loved ones the burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay your family up to $30,000 to help pay for your funeral and other expenses. There are no medical exams. Your rates will never increase, and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless of your medical conditions, as long as you make your premium payments. Get up to $30,000 in final expense insurance. Call now for free information. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 800-399-6879. 800-399-6879. 800-399-6879. That's 800-399-6879.
Let's be honest. Most businesses don't struggle because demand is low. They struggle because their back end can't handle growth. Leads come in, but follow-up is slow. Calls get missed. Appointments don't get confirmed. And everything lives in different places. So even when marketing works, revenue doesn't scale. That's a systems problem. Create Assistance fixes this by building a done-for-you CRM and automation system that captures every lead, follows up automatically, confirms appointments, and keeps everything organized in one place. And only after that foundation is built, AI voice and chat employees get added on. If your business feels chaotic behind the scenes, it's time to fix the back end. Visit createassistance.ai and book your call today. Or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
My fellow Americans, let the message ring out that from this day forward, when you buy American, you buy the best. Handcrafted, something premium, something pure. For this is the very essence of what our servicemen and women gave their lives to protect, and by God, we shall not allow their sacrifice to be forgotten. It's time to show the world just how great American can be. And we will not wait for tomorrow to come. We will stand here, this moment, together, and we will start today. Don't ever forget how great it is to be American. America we need right now. American Premium Vodka. Celebrate responsibly.
Hour 2 of Titillating Sports. You thought it couldn't get any better, but it's better. Rick Tittle is back. He's so great. I can't believe how awesome he is. More sports talk, yes. Couldn't get any better, but it's better. Rick Tittle is back. He's so great. I can't believe how awesome he is. More sports talk, yes. Hour 2 of Titillating Sports.
Hey, check out Channel 9. Check out Rick Tittle.
All right, thank you, Dan, and welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. It's our pleasure to welcome back to the show our good friend Bruce Marshall from the Gold Sheet as we talk NHL with Bruce. And Bruce has the season now, just a couple games left, but we're getting the people fighting for seeds. But I know that the Sharks did the Ducks a huge favor last night by winning in Nashville. They hadn't beaten the Preds since before the pandemic, which is kind of sad. The Kings got in. The Flyers got in for the first time in 6 years. The Tortorella experiment paid off in Vegas, but DeBoer came in too late on Long Island. Just take us through this last couple days and some of these teams securing, and then some of the teams like my young Sharkies falling a little bit short.
Yeah, it was quite. I mean, it was pretty eventful here the last
2 weeks, a couple of coaching changes, like you said, it's worked out pretty well for Vegas, which now looks like it has a shot to win the Pacific Division. They've only lost, once since Tortorella came in, so that's worked out well. It did not work out the experiment for the Islanders with Pete DeBoer. Now they've got him signed for a few years, but I think they brought him in. I mean, specifically thinking he could spur them out of that losing streak they had done under Patrick Roy. It didn't work. So sometimes, you don't get the new coach bounce like you think. If you come in really late like that, didn't work for them. But I think, it really was interesting the way some of these teams got eliminated and what was happening in the last week, and some of these teams rising up. The Sharks were kind of in a tough spot themselves, but they went and they effectively knocked Nashville out last night. I was impressed, Rick. The last week here, a downtrodden, and I mean it really downtrodden Vancouver side came up and won a couple of games, and really damaged. Sharks could have damaged Anaheim too, with late. And I think that's a tip of the hat to the NHL. These teams, unlike their NBA brethren, these teams at the bottom, continued to play hard. And I give Vancouver credit for really damaging the Sharks, and it could have damaged the Ducks too, beating Anaheim. And both those games were on the road. Good for Vancouver.
Yeah, it's hard to tank in a sport where you're getting punched in the face. It's hard to turn the other cheek for that. Ovechkin got his goodbye. Then he said, "Well, I'm not saying goodbye." But they said, "Well, we'll say goodbye just in case." Do you think Ovi comes back?
50-50. I don't even think he knows yet. What I get the feeling with Ovechkin is that maybe, my gut feel is that maybe this is it, because he doesn't seem like the sort who would want a big send-off in every city he went into for the last time. If he announces it before the season that this is it, he really wouldn't be all that comfortable with that. Every stop he made along the way, and his next season would be, an honorarium for him, and they would do ceremonies and all that. I think he would. I guess he could request them not to do that, but that would be kind of hard. That's why tonight is very interesting. It might be, his last game. Only he knows. Like I said, I'm not even sure he knows yet, but they're in Columbus tonight. Washington, also, by the way, was another one of those teams that made a late bid and fell just short. We'll see what happens tonight with Columbus. Columbus, on the other hand, sort of back in the last 2 weeks. One other note tonight, Logan Thompson apparently in goal for Washington, and he's one of those goalies who might be in the next for the Vezina, and he's played pretty well lately. They're going to be just short of the playoffs, but Washington at least played pretty well the last week of the game win streak into tonight. We'll see about Obi.
Utah secured a hard spot, and in the old days, in just about every sport, with an expansion draft, you were only allowed to have the garbage and refuse of other teams, and it took you many, many years, maybe 6 years at the earliest, to draft and build and trade and sign guys in whatever sport. And I remember when the Sharks came in, they came in by themselves, and they were given the second overall pick. They took Pat Falloon, and that's because the number one pick was going to be Eric Lindros, who was going to be the greatest player of all time. And Philly and New York both thought they had him. They had to go to arbitration. The Flyers ended up. But anyway, my point is the NHL changed all that with the Knights because they knew they couldn't have a lousy team in the desert. And so you got Fleury and Marchessault and teams getting signed, trading back for picks. And then look what they do. They're excellent almost immediately. The Kraken came in running. And then here's Utah, who should be struggling. I mean, technically, they're still the Yotes. But what is it about the Mammoth this year that kind of snuck up and grabbed one of those spots?
Yeah, I actually think the move to Salt Lake City last year, they were much upgraded last year from their last, from the end at down in Phoenix or Tempe, I guess, in the arena. I went a few years ago. I went to that arena before they left out in Glendale. I thought that was a perfectly wonderful place to watch hockey. I was really sad when they left. I guess Gila River they called it, and they went to the small arena at ASU. But I think the whole thing, just getting to Salt Lake City, was big. But Malka has also turned into a really good goalie, and I think the defense they started the right way. They tightened up on the back end there. Melker's got 37 wins this year. Now, he's doing the bulk of the work. He's been in there about three-quarters of the time. But he's more, if not he is one of the top win goalies in the NHL this year. Started kind of with defense with Utah, and they are in a position right now where they're in the playoffs. They would like to avoid playing Colorado in the first round. That's about the only drama left. We know all the teams who are going to be in the playoffs. Their spot is going to be up in the air, and for the Mammoth, and they're sort of fighting with the Ducks and the Kings to avoid the 8th seed, because I don't think anybody wants to see Colorado off the bat in the playoffs.
Real quick, you mentioned I mentioned the Flyers, whatever. They're in, and they looked like they weren't going to do anything. The last 6 weeks, they've been the third best team in hockey. Unbelievable numbers. And then you get the goalie, Vladar, whatever. He was a backup his whole career. I can't even say his name. And then look what he's doing. He's like a top 10 guy. How about them Broad Street Bullies?
Rick Tocchet deserves some Jack Adams consideration, I think, for turning this ship around. First time in, 6 years they've been to the playoffs. Now, Lindy Ruff, I think, and Cooper, they're certainly going to have they're saying the Jack Adams, but I think Tocchet deserves it. This really sort of happened, is after the Winter Olympics break. I mean, they looked like they were pretty much out of the race in a real concerted drive. Again, it was on the defensive end. Tocchet tightened things up there a lot. They're a much better defensive team down the stretch. You mentioned Vladar, who had been excellent in goal down the stretch. Urson also is there. We are also going to be treated to the Flyers and Penguins in the first round. We know that's a hot rivalry. They've had some great playoff battles in the past, and really looking forward to that one. Flyers re-entering the playoffs and who they face with the Penguins. I think that is one of the highlight matchups we're going to get in the first round.
All right, the gold sheet. It's. I want to know what's going on with the gold sheet, but also I remember you used to mail those things out like 15, 20 years ago. It said like the gold sheet over 50 years old, and that was a long time ago. How long has the gold sheet been around?
1957 it started.
Wow.
So 69, about 70th season. Now we, I started actually there in '81. Now we started a few years back, and they have pulled me back out of semi-retirement. So I am back gold sheet now. Now it's all under the WagerTalk.com umbrella. And under WagerTalk, of course, the WagerTalk brand, and of course, there's also Winners and Winers, Picks and Parlays, but there's also goldsheet.com. Now, we're really ramping that up when we get to football season in the fall. But it's all up there, and you go for everything Bruce now. It's all under at WagerTalk.com.
Bruce Marshall, there's great stuff as always. Thanks for your insights, man.
Have a good week, Rick. Thanks.
All right, come on back with author Lucy Ashe.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can solve your case and stop collections against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for more. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. Again, for the last time, that's 800-943-9215.
Special alert for consumers struggling to pay taxes. Tax regulations, not published yet. We have the inside track on your new tax savings. These programs are designed to help struggling taxpayers like you. The COVID relief programs are gone, but there are new programs to help struggling taxpayers. And we have the inside track. Call now and we'll take you through these new programs. These taxpayer savings programs have never been available until now. Get out of tax trouble now. It doesn't take weeks. It can happen in one phone call. Now and get the inside track to get rid of your tax problems.
Call the tax helpline now. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. That's 800-949-0039.
Sometimes life changes, and the house you once loved becomes a burden. Too many repairs, too many memories, too much to handle on your own. If you'd like to sell your home fast, we can help at the Home Buyers Hotline. We can help you sell your home as is. No cleaning, no showings, and there are absolutely no hidden fees or real estate commissions. We'll pay you a fair price for your home cash. Whether you're downsizing, handling an estate, or just ready for peace of mind, call us. We'll help you walk away from your problem property in no time at all and get you the cash in your bank account with little hassles. If you'd like to sell your home fast, as is, we can help at the Home Buyers Hotline.
Call Want to Sell Your Home now for a free quote to sell your home in any condition. Call 800-950-3143. 800-950-3143. That's 800-950-3143.
I'm going to give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property.
If you're thinking about calling Rick Tittle, just put down that phone and shut your ugly face.
No. Welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you, nationally syndicated out of San Francisco and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. It's our pleasure to welcome to the show the acclaimed author Lucy Ashe. She has a brand new novel out today from Union Square Publishing entitled The Model Patient. And Lucy, welcome to the show. And first of all, in the book, I got a postcard with Big Ben on it. Thanks for that.
Pleasure.
A little touch there. So I love your background in ballet and going to Oxford. It seems very like idyllic and posh. Of course, there's always undercurrents to everything. Where did you grow up, Lucy?
Yeah, I grew up in the UK, in just south of London, and I was a dancer for quite a while. I absolutely love ballet, and I trained at the Royal Ballet School, which actually is this really idyllic place in the middle of Richmond Park, which is near London. It was a boarding school there. It's very, very intense. I would say that it sort of looks idyllic, but it's a very hard-working place to be as a child, to be growing up as a dancer. But I love that. But I ended up taking a different direction. I didn't become a professional dancer after my training. I went to Oxford University, studied English literature, and I became an English and drama teacher and writing novels. I started writing novels in my 20s, and then I got my first book deal for The Dance of the Dolls, my first book about 3 years ago, and then now The Model Patient is my third novel.
I love Richmond Park, by the way, also south of the Thames, the deer running around. And I was born in Richmond, California, which is a little bit different, Richmond. But anyway, were you, when you say south, were you like in Lambeth or Croydon, or are we going like into Hampshire, Surrey? Where are you from?
Yeah, Surrey, yeah.
Like
very beautiful place to live.
Surbiton, Wimbledon?
It was, the town was called Godalming. And my father was the local vicar, the priest there. So we lived in the vicarage. It was wonderful.
Very good. Nothing like Grantchester, though. He wasn't like the heartthrob.
I don't think so. But I guess you'd have to ask his parishioners.
Very good. All right. Tell us about the model patient, because I believe there's a double entendre with that name.
There is, yeah. So The Model Patient, it's a psychological thriller about a fashion model turned housewife in 1960s London. And she starts to go to see a therapist for help with reoccurring nightmares. Also her fears about trying for a baby, so she gave up her as a model when she got married. And now her husband wants her to stop taking the contraceptive pill. And this is quite important for when the novel is set. It's set in the 1960s. And the contraceptive pill, was only recently available on the National Health Service, gave women this sort of new and revolutionary autonomy over their body. But really the heart of the novel is her relationship with her therapist, which very quickly intensifies, and he uses her transference, which is the way that a patient projects patterns of behavior, emotions from their past, that sort of thing, onto the therapist. It's a really powerful thing. It happens a lot in therapy, but it starts to spiral out of control, and he uses it as this tool to kind of draw her deeper and deeper into obsession. And the novel is about how this obsession becomes quite dangerous. But part of it is because she longs to be the model patient, as in she longs to be like his best patient, his favorite patient. She becomes really quite obsessed with him. And that's really because of experiences from her past with men that are playing themselves out over and over again in the therapy space.
And I would think what a rich environment in which to set the piece, because I think about Carnaby Street and the groovy, the music scene and the drugs and the rock and roll. I mean, it was a cool time, wasn't it?
It was. I absolutely loved researching this time period to set the novel. There's the fashion from the time, so quite a big transition in terms of the way people were shopping. There's boutiques such as Mary Corn's Bazaar, John Stevens fashion stores that you mentioned on Carnaby Street, really changing the way people shop. And in 1963, when the novel was set, I would say there's not quite the swinging 60s yet. It's still really holding on to some of the conventions and conservatism of the post-war decade in London. But the swinging 60s is coming, and I think the novel reflects that transitional space between the two decades. But music as well, and 1963 is, of course, the year of the Beatles, and definitely brought things about that into the novel as well.
And as a modern-day woman, when you put yourself in the situation of a woman at that time, and as you mentioned, they're still cleaning up rubble from the Blitz and certain parts of London, and, you had to, I'm not saying every girl went to finishing school, but you had to, a lot of times, be seen and not heard, barefoot and pregnant, what have you, and the civil rights coming through that time, and the liberation and the sexual politics as they begin to shift as well, and then removing some of those shackles. What was it like to sort of think of yourself in that time?
Yeah, I think you had to really try and understand what Evelyn Westbrook, the main character, what her experience would have been like, especially because she'd been working, she'd been a model, she'd been earning her own career, and yes, you do find out throughout the novel that there were some very traumatic experiences that she had as part of her work as a model, but she was independent. She was living with her best friend in Chelsea, and then she gets married, and the expectations of running a house, having children, matching up to the cooking standards of her mother-in-law, and they suddenly are very, very heavy for her, and she's not ready for it. But it was so much the expectation that she wouldn't really have had a kind of language or understanding that she could fight against this, because it was the expectation. That's what you did. And I think that's why I was so interested in setting the novel at this time of change for women, sort of used through the symbol of the contraceptive pill. Because even like we think, oh wow, they've got the contraceptive pill, it must have been so revolutionary, so much change, but it was so taboo at that time that it wasn't available for everyone. You had to. It was really at the doctor's discretion whether they prescribed it. There was this fear among conservative circles that it would encourage promiscuity. And in fact, many doctors required a husband's permission before they prescribed the pill. So, and if you were unmarried, it was pretty much impossible to get it until about sort of 5 or 6 years later. So there was all this change was in the air, but it wasn't normalized yet. And I felt that also when I was, I'm writing about a character who's going to therapy, and for us now, that's so normal. I mean, most of us go to therapy. But in 1963, for a woman to go to therapy, to make that choice, that would have been something she's quite afraid of sharing, and she doesn't tell her husband at all. She keeps it completely secret from him. So I think the tensions for her of like what she feels inside, but not feeling that those are like things that she should be feeling inside, it becomes a real point of conflict for her in her therapy, but also in her day-to-day life.
Very interesting. The book is called The Model Patient, a novel by Lucy Ashe, very accomplished author. It's available today from Union Square Publishing. And just as an aside, Lucy, I don't know if you know the ballet La Sylphide, but I'm going to see it here tomorrow in San Francisco. There's a lot of tartan involved in that.
Yes, there is. There's a lot of tartan and a lot of very beautiful kind of white sylphs floating around the place. It's a beautiful ballet.
I knew that you would know. All right. Thank you so much. Once again, The Model Patient by our guest, Lucy Ashe. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
All right. Good stuff. And you know what she was alluding to about the power dynamics in psychotherapy and how things can be not therapeutic also. I knew this one woman who was obsessed with a guy, and she went to therapy, and the guy was not interested in her, and the therapist, instead of saying, you got to get over him, your heart's broken, it's okay, and a year from now you won't even care, you're going to find somebody better, don't chase after someone who doesn't want you. She told her, if that's who you want, don't give up. It's just the worst advice. I mean, I had one psychology class in college, and it had nothing to do with therapy. But how dumb is that? So I think a lot of times people think that therapists have all the answers. And remember Benny Hill, he's writing The Rapist, and he's like, no, put the words together. And he goes, oh, therapist. Yeah, that was Benny Hill. All right, when we come back, J.D. Sharp from Pro Wagering. Get on back on Byline.
Quick question. How many calls, texts, or messages does your business miss every week? Nights, weekends, busy days. That's lost money. Create Assistance helps businesses fix that problem using AI employees that answer calls, respond to texts, book appointments, and follow up with leads 24/7 automatically. No extra staff, no complicated software. Everything runs inside one simple command center that replaces scattered tools, follow-ups, and manual busy work. Whether you're a service business, office, or multi-location company, Create Assistance keeps your business responsive, organized, and running even when you're off the clock. Stop letting leads slip through the cracks. Visit createassistance.ai to book a free call, or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
I am an American veteran. I'm proud to have served this country. Helping veterans is something all Americans can participate in, and it's as simple as donating an old car that you have sitting around. When you call the Veteran Car Donation Program, they'll explain how their program works, and then arrange a time they can come and pick up your vehicle for free. Running or not, It doesn't matter. They take cars, trucks, motorcycles, or vans. Show your support by donating your car and get a tax deduction in the process. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program right now. They'll come and pick your car up, and you get a tax deduction in the process. Call the number we're about to give you right now. Thank you, and God bless America.
800-887-1097. 800-887-1097. 800-887-1097. That's 800-887-1097.
Every champion has a team behind them, and for thousands of families without insurance, Christ Clinic is that team. At Christ Clinic in Texas, they provide high-quality, faith-based health care to people who can't afford it, because everyone deserves a shot at health, no matter their income or insurance status. Their doctors, volunteers, their mission, rooted in compassion, their impact, over 10,000 patient visits every year and growing. But they can't do it without help from fans like you. If you ever cheered for a comeback story, this is your chance to be a part of one. Donate today at ChristClinicKaty.org and help them keep the doors open for those who need it most. One gift can be the difference between surviving and thriving. Christ Clinic in Katy, where health meets hope and faith goes to work. That's Christ Clinic Katy, spelled KATY.org. Team up with them today.
You know, like kickboxing, that's my favorite sport. Kickboxing is great. When you think about it, it combines the style and grace of boxing with kicking.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, tell me, mirror, what is wrong? Can it be my daylight clothes or is it just my daylight song? What I do ain't make believe. People say I sit and try, but when it comes to being daylight, it's just me, myself, and I. Just me, myself, and I. It's just me, myself, and I. It's just me, myself, and I.
Rick Tittle can usually be found at He Baby Mama House.
Thanks for that, and welcome back to the show. Coming up next hour, actress Lena Hall in studio, also director of Jailblazers, Sascha Gardner, will join us. It's on Netflix, but it's great to welcome our friend J.D. Sharp from Pro Wagering, a professional prognosticator. And I had a couple of other things I wanted to ask you, J.D., but I can't avoid asking you a couple more questions about the NFL draft. And I know you can handle them and then some. The question I wanted to ask you is that for all the mocks I've seen, almost everyone has Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back, to Tennessee at 4. I saw one that had him drop to 12 to Dallas. But as we've seen over the years, especially with Aston Genty last year, is that if you don't have a line, a running back is not going to do too much for you. We know over the years, too, people kind of got away from spending high picks on running backs. Now, if you get a Saquon, then you're cooking with gas. But what do you think about Jeremiah Love? And I know he's more like a Saquon than a Genty physically, but is that a guy that you can think, that's my running back for the next 10 years, he's going to give me 1,000 yards a year? Or do you say, nah, I'll pick up a running back in the 5th round?
Yeah, he's that guy. He can give you 1,000 yards for 10 years. He can give you 1,500.
Wow.
For at least 5, 5'7". He's what, 6 foot 210. So he's a little bigger than people thought he was. He thought he was like 5'11", 190. He's well over 200 pounds. He ran a 4.39. Obviously, he jumped. I've seen him jump over his own lineman 2 or 3 times. He loves to jump. It's his favorite thing in the whole world. He loves to jump. That'd be my worry. Is he going to jump on the wrong? Is he going to jump at the wrong time and just get smashed and get injured for life? That's my only worry with Jeremiah Love, honestly. But he's got the size. He's got the moves. He's got the speed. He kind of reminds me of like a bigger Jamal Charles, or like maybe like a Javid Best, if he was a little bit bigger. 6 foot 210 for a running back. That's like Mo Samuel, right? That's basically like who he is physically. He's not, LT was 225, Barry Sanders was 210, and Smith was 225. Pretty much I'm like Jerome Bettis, obviously. 250. Ezekiel Elliott, 225. Derrick Henry, 250. You don't really see a lot of running backs that weigh 210 pounds, like maybe Chase Brown's in that range. But can he handle, only weighing 210, can he handle really those consistent hits? I think because he's pretty top heavy. He has size, but he's pretty top heavy. I think he can do it. Chris Johnson, 5'11", 190, 195. Again, my word with him is if he jumps over the wrong person, it's just going to get demolished, and just his career is just going to be completely over. And I hope that doesn't happen. But if that doesn't happen, yeah, I think he has enough wiggle. He has enough athleticism. He's fast enough, and he knows how to play the position really well. Yeah, I think you consider him. No matter how bad your line is, I still think there are opportunities for guys like that, just pure playmakers. And you know who he's built like? It's Reggie Bush. There it is, Reggie Bush, 6'2". That's Jeremiah Love. Bush is probably a little more limp. He was a little more like well proportioned. He wasn't top heavy. He wasn't bottom heavy. He was just kind of like a wide receiver. Whereas Love is built more like a running back, kind of like a Deebo Samuel. Although Deebo, you could argue, is more bottom heavy. But yeah, so I think you still take a look at him because again, with the way that like Christian McCaffrey, maybe that's another example. Probably faster than McCaffrey. But there's opportunities to do out of the backfield tosses in between the tackles. He could always put on 10 pounds and then drop down to a 4.4 instead of a 4.39. That could happen too. So yeah, I think either way, with a talent like him and a physical profile that I still think you take him top 10 if you can. If it's a new position.
Very good. Now, I wanted to ask you about one of the more polarizing players in the first round, and he will be a first-round pick, but that's the defensive tackle Peter Woods from Clemson. This is a 300-pound guy, and I understand the value of a run stopper, and you want him to be Aaron Donald and get the quarterback, but he's too fat probably to do that. But if you can close off that side of the line, then he's going to be worth it. Once in a while, you get a fat guy like a Vince Wilfork, who is worth every penny. But I have just, over the years, seen so many 300-pound guys be such a waste of space. And that's why I've seen him as high as 10, and I've seen him in, like, the late 20s. What do you think of Peter Woods?
Peter Woods is overrated. I mean, you watched him against Cleveland last year. He was not a disruptor under any stretch of the imagination as far as I was concerned last year. I'll take this. You see that guy in Africa, Nigeria, I believe it was, 4'6" or 6'4", 310, ran 35-inch vertical leap. Give me that guy. Give me. I mean, 305, 110 pounds. Obviously there's a certain threshold you have to meet in the NFL, but you're not going to recreate Donald. That guy's body fat's 4%. Peter Woods, fat guy. Like he's probably 20-25% body fat. Not 4%, probably 8% on Donald. Either way, he's an absolute freak show. Ran a 4.6 at the combine, 6'1", 290. Bench press is 40 pounds. 40. Even now, 3 years out of the league, he still looks the way he looks. So, yeah, I think the reason to waste a pick on a guy like that. I mean, look at Quentin Williams. Has he been that big? Has he been that good for the Jets? And now not even Jets, but now the Cowboys? No, he hasn't. He was a top 5 pick, 6'3", 315. Wasn't 3'4", wasn't 350. You got Dexter Long style guys and you got Quentin Williams style guys. And I would argue that Woods has been significantly less dominant than Williams. So yeah, give me I'm not touching Woods until the third or fourth round. Maybe. I'm looking at those guys that are 6'4", 310.
Let me throw a couple names
Sure.
at you there. Caleb Banks from Florida, Caden McDonald from Ohio State, Art Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. Any of those at the tackle position interest you?
Yeah, I take a look at McDonald. I like him. He's 6'3", 3. He's got that size. Caleb Banks is huge. I don't know how good he is. McDonald, I watched him play. I watched him dominate. McDonald's a first-round pick. Also, there's this Vanderberg, Jordan from Georgia Tech. He had an unbelievable pro day. 6'1", maybe 6'3", 305, and like a low 4'7". If you looked him up, he was pretty impressive. But I'm looking at guys like that. But yeah, as far as the best tackle and the best D tackle, and Army, he's 6'3", 250. He's more of like a David Bailey type of player. But maybe he's 6'4", 260, whatever. So, yeah, but he's not playing D tackle, obviously. But as far as like who's the tackle in this draft, yeah, it's Caden McDonald by far. I watched that guy dominate. He's got the size. And Ohio State consistently puts out good players on the D line.
When you look at the corners, we talk about Mansour Delane, Jermod McCoy. A lot of people are high on Colton Hood. There's a guy who just in the last week has squeaked into a couple of first-round mocks, and that is the 6-foot corner from San Diego State, Chris Johnson. You know anything about him?
I don't. I know nothing about them. Never heard of him ever in my life. Jamal McCoy, obviously, I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
McCoy, he didn't play last year. He's 6'1", 190. I mean, he's got the best physical profile by far. Like, he's probably a 4-day guy. Healthy, he's the guy that you want. Colton Hood, I don't feel great about him. I watched Monsoor Delane play. He knows how to play the position. He does. He's got some good size. He was good for LSU, good for Vatech. Am I going to waste a first-round pick on him? Probably not. Second or third, in my opinion. But, yeah, I mean, Jeremiah McCoy, if you want to take a shot in the corner, that's the guy that you're drafting. He has the size. He played really well. He looks the part. I think if I'm the Chiefs, that's who I'm drafting.
Just, this is why I'm asking you, because I hadn't heard of that guy, Chris Johnson, but a couple other guys that have now popped up into the first round late, which it happens every year. One of them is the linebacker from Georgia, C.J. Allen, who I remember him making some great plays. He's good. His teammate, Zachariah Branch, at the wideout spot has also popped into the first round. What do you think of those two guys?
Allen's fine. He's small. He's like 225, 230. Mm-hmm. I'd rather take Jake Rodriguez over C.J. Allen. You know, that kid from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
6'1", 225, underrated. I mean, he killed the combine. He did everything really well. I think he's a real gamer. I don't know if Allen's that guy. I think he benefits from going to Georgia. Zachariah Branch, highly overrated, 5-star kid out of high school, went to USC. Obviously transferred to Georgia. He's going to make plays for you. Is he as talented as Jalen Waddle? No. You know, I don't think he's a first-round pick. I think he's probably a fourth-round guy, maybe a second-round guy. He'll make an impact. He'll make plays, but is he the type of guy that is going to be just a major electric player in the pros at the same time? And in the measurables, I think, back that up.
Last question for you, and somebody was asking me who my sleeper favorite player in the draft is, and he might end up being the best value because he might fall to the second round. And I watched him play, I don't say a lot. I watched him play like 3 games, and every game he dominated. It's the 6'4", 210 wide receiver out of Washington, Denzel Boston. I think he's going to be...
Oh, yeah, you like Denzel? He's good?
I think he's going to be a great pro. Yeah.
I think he's got size for sure. I don't think he had a great quarterback. DeMond Williams wasn't great, I don't think. You know, he's a little 5'10" guy that ran around a lot. I can see Boston be good. My favorite player in this draft is Jordan Tyson.
Yeah. Well, if he's healthy, I love him, yeah.
Yeah, I think a healthy Tyson is going to be an absolute impact maker in this draft. I also like Monroe Freeling. I like Jake Rodriguez a lot. I like Arvell Reese a lot. I don't love Sonny Styles. I think Carson Beck has a chance to provide some pretty major value as well. And that's probably, and there's obviously, there's a lot of just really talented players in this draft. It's a pretty deep draft, especially skill position, offensively and defensively. But yeah, I would say that I think when I watch Jordan play, I just see a guy that can make a huge impact. He reminds me of an A.J. Brown mixed with a Malik Neighbors, mixed with a Jamar Chase, honestly. And if he stays healthy, he's going to be a real difference maker in the league relatively quickly.
Let me throw more in here quick. We got a minute. There are a lot of people saying that with the needs all over the place with San Francisco, they're going to take Kenyon Sadiq at tight end because Kittle's out for the season, and they don't have anybody else. They have Jake Tonjes, who's like a free agent out of Cal, like that guy Farrell, who they never even played. But what about, then when Kittle's healthy, you got double tight. But what do you think about drafting Kenyon Sadiq basically to start at tight end for a year as a rookie?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's 6'3", 240, 4'3", 840. I mean, basically Vernon Davis really is what he is. He looks the part. Extremely jacked. I mean, he's gonna sell jerseys. He's gonna make plays. Is he technically sound? I don't know. He made a play where the ball was completely overthrown by Dante Moore, and the guy he had to jump 15 feet to stretch out and catch this ball. He jumped 5 yards. There's no way, maybe 7 yards. I mean, plays like that, a guy his size, they shouldn't be made. So yeah, I think with a guy like that, you take a chance with someone with the athleticism he has, and he produced a little bit, but he's gonna have to get developed as well. If I'm the Chargers, that's an easy pick for me because there's such a problem at tight end. If I have a good quarterback, right, there's a caveat to this. If I have a good quarterback and I have multiple wide receivers and a decent running back and a good offensive line, I need a tight end, I'm absolutely taking him in first. If I have an okay quarterback and I need a tight end, I'm not taking him in the first. I'm looking. I don't think he's that big of a difference maker, but I think if he has someone really, really talented in the ball, he can complete. He could actually complete an offense.
Well, yeah, he'd have Purdy, so that makes sense. We've been speaking with J.D. Sharp from Pro Wagering. Email him, sharp@betmypicks.com. J.D., good stuff, man. Thanks for popping on.
You bet. Thanks.
All righty, then. Come on back on Sports Byline USA.
Keep listening for details on how to get up to $300 airline credit. Sky Holidays introduces a one-of-a-kind air credit program. Our buying team got a little too aggressive in getting hotel and air deals. So now we have to liquidate our prices. Here's how. Whether you want to go to Paris, Las Vegas, London, Atlanta, Hawaii, or anywhere else in the world, we have amazing deals. Book a selected hotel. We'll give you up to $300 airline credit. Now you can book your vacation and get a free credit to use towards airline travel. We'll book both, airline and hotel, with one simple phone call. We have access to most airlines and deals on thousands and thousands of places to stay. Call right now, book your hotel rooms, claim your airline credit. You can change or modify it at any time. 800-256-4816. 800-256-4816. That's 800-256-4816.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. If you've been involved in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or injured at work, you have rights, and you may be entitled to money for your suffering. Don't accept an offer you get from an insurance company until you talk to a lawyer, and we represent some of the best personal injury lawyers you can find. Tough lawyers that will fight to win your case, and they're so good they stick their reputation on it. By only getting paid, you win. So if you've been in a serious car, truck, or motorcycle accident or hurt on the job, find out today for free what kind of compensation you may be entitled to. Call the legal helpline right now.
800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. 800-401-5163. That's 800-401-5163.
It's more than a rebellion. When your teen is slipping into drugs or alcohol, when social media and pornography consume their time and their mind, when depression and even suicidal thoughts cast a shadow over your home, as a parent, you feel powerless. There is hope. At Turnabout Ranch, troubled teens step away from the chaos and into a clarity of nature on a working cattle ranch. Care for horses, learn responsibility, build trust, and rediscover purpose. It isn't theory, it's real work. Real therapy, real healing. Families from across the country have found transformation right here, just when they thought hope was gone. If your teen is struggling with addiction, harmful online behaviors, even weight management, call right now and get the help you all need.
800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. 800-219-2494. That's 800-219-2494.
I gotta go to college. I got it.
Danny, this isn't Russia. Is this Russia? This isn't Russia, is it?
Nah.
I don't think so.
Rick Tittle ain't the man, but Rick Tittle know who the man is, and he slapped a white fanny.
Hour 2 coming up. Lena Hall in studio and director Sascha Gardner, Jailblazers Untold on Netflix. All the best to Jared Bednar, the head coach of the Avalanche, for taking a puck off the cheek yesterday, or 2 days ago, I guess. Facial fractures. Of course, they are the top seed, but it was just kind of a funny little flick sideways, and I got him right in the face. And that puck is frozen and it's hard. It wasn't even a slapper, but it reminds me of when, before the Sharks came and I was working at Sports Channel, this is in 1990, the Penguins with Yager and Lemieux played an exhibition game at the Oakland Coliseum. I forgot who they were playing, but all the Sports Channel people, including the front office types that just wore suits and cubicles that knew nothing about broadcasting, they were just pencil pushers. One guy was kind of a horse's ass and sitting up way high, and he took a slap shot right off his dome. Just boom, went way over the glass right into his head. He had these stitches. They had to shave side of his head to get the stitches in. And even though he was a D, I still felt sorry for him. So from the ice. All right, we got 2 hours. We got 1 hour. We got 2 hours in the book. Come on back with Lena Hall in studio.
I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-minute warning. When free agent NFL quarterback Kirk Cousins first signed with the Las Vegas Raiders earlier this month, I had noted how many pundits championed the decision. And while I don't want to bag on the talking heads paid to pontificate, a week later many are still doing so by setting countdown clocks on how long it will take before the expected first pick in the draft, Fernando Mendoza, takes over. It's become accepted practice to throw a rookie quarterback and their cap money to the Wolves, so it only makes sense to wonder how much patience the Raiders will have. But I still think they're going to have a lot more than people expect, which is really something novel considering the history of the Raiders, but times seem to have finally changed. While the late owner Al Davis' son Mark continues to control the operations of the franchise, the team turned to minority owner Tom Brady and his longtime friend and general manager John Spytek to revamp things. In an interview with ESPN this week, Spytek talked about the importance of having patience with young players. When talking about young quarterbacks being thrust into situations they weren't ready for, Spytek noted, "I think more organizations failed those kids than those kids failed the organizations." Spytek's teammate at Michigan State, Tom Brady, knows as well as anyone what a year without the spotlight can do for a young quarterback. When he was drafted in 2000 by the New England Patriots, it wasn't even guaranteed that Brady would make the team. He did, but he sat and learned from his head coach Bill Belichick, from offensive coordinator Charlie Weiss, and from the veteran starter Drew Bledsoe. What to do, what not to do, and how to lead. When Cousins was drafted in 2012 by the then Washington Redskins, he knew he'd probably make the team, but he also knew he wasn't starting, so he sat and learned. From a staff which included Mike Shanahan, Kyle Shanahan, and Matt LaFleur, Cousins learned what to do, what not to do, and how to lead, and he was able to do so as he watched the trials and tribulations of fellow rookie Robert Griffin III. By the way, Mike McDaniel and Sean McVay were also in Washington at the time, just to remind you how bad the franchise fumbled its future. In February, the Raiders hired new head coach Clint Kubiak. While both were in Minnesota, Kirk Cousins had 3 of the best years of his career. At this stage, it's impossible for me to believe that Kubiak and Cousins won't work well together and get some use out of the young weapons the Raiders have. And while they do, it gives Mendoza a chance to learn at a more relaxed pace and without the pressure he'd face as a starter. Taking snaps from under center, getting comfortable in the pocket, and then learning how to deal with the pressure in said pocket, throwing deep balls consistently at this level, there's a lot to learn. Maybe most importantly, how to make your teammates believe in you and want to follow you into battle. Something Brady, Cousins, and Kubiak, last year's Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator with the Seahawks, have a darn good history of. I'm Mike Sempervive with the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network 2-minute warning.
Have you been daydreaming about losing weight for years? Do you just yo-yo back and forth? At Innovative Wellness Center, we have a holistic weight loss program that allows you to lose up to 20 pounds in 30 days. People are losing weight like crazy and keeping it off. It can be done from anywhere in the United States. Go to our website at www.innovativewellness.center and schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Soccer season rolls on here on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. This is Tyler Levine, host of First Touch, the premier weekly global soccer show across the entire Sports Byline broadcast, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Simple Radio, and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. We're talking English Premier League, Champions League, our picks of the week, and a whole lot more. First Touch on Sports Byline USA, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. See you there.
Getting together with friends to watch the game? Then you'll need American Premium Vodka. Handcrafted and pure, this is the one thing all Americans can agree on. Founder Mark Gus Scott chose the finest natural elements America has to offer, and you'll taste how great it is to be an American. Now available at Bevmo, GoPuff, Hy-Vee, and Fairway stores. American Premium Vodka. This is the America we need right now. Go to AmericanPremiumVodka.com. Celebrate responsibly.
Let's be honest. Most businesses don't struggle because demand is low. They struggle because their back end can't handle growth. Leads come in, follow-up is slow. Calls get missed. Appointments don't get confirmed. And everything lives in different places. So even when marketing works, revenue doesn't scale. That's a systems problem. Create Assistance fixes this by building a done-for-you CRM and automation system that captures every lead, follows up automatically, confirms appointments, keeps everything organized in one place. And only after the application is built, AI voice and chat employees get added on. If your business feels chaotic behind the scenes, it's time to fix the back end. Visit createassistance.ai and book your call today. Or you can call or text 515-500-2224. Again, that's 515-500-2224. We look forward to hearing from you.
Rick Tittle knows his sports.
I hate that guy.
I love that guy. Oh my gosh, he's so fine. Rick Tittle brings home the bacon, fries it up in a pan, and then he eats it.
Ricky T in the hizzle for shizzle, biznatch.
Thank you for that. Hour 3 underway. Lena Hall outside the door getting ready to come in. Very talented, Tony Award-winning Broadway star. She has music albums. And she stars as Allie, John Hamm's sister, in Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. Matt Crocker has left his role as United States Soccer sporting director right before the World Cup. Crocker, who's from Wales, was hired 3 years ago to oversee the men's and women's national teams. And he is immediately quit to join the Saudi Arabian Football Federation. So somebody came in with a big fat check. So U.S. Soccer Secretary General J.T. Batson said, over the past several years, U.S. Soccer has grown significantly across every part of our sport organization. We thank Matt for the role, and Matt helped guide, blah, blah, blah. So now Dan Helfrich, who's the COO, will be the guy in charge. But, I mean, when he was there for 3 years, he rehired Berhalter, and he did hire Emma Hayes, which was a great hire for the women's team. And then he landed his old friend from Southampton, Mauricio Pochettino, which I think is a good hire as well. And he unveiled this thing called U.S. Way, which is a new strategy around national youth development. They put in $200 million into a training facility in Atlanta. So it looked like it was all right, but it just looks weird to leave 2 months before the World Cup. You think he would say, yes, Saudi Arabia, I'll come over, but I'll come over after the World Cup. So it's not a disaster. It's just kind of a bad. But since nobody ever heard of him, it's not it's not too horrifying. All right, TuneIn app, iHeartRadio, Stitcher app, and be sure to watch on YouTube and Twitch.tv because coming after the break, in studio, the lovely and talented Lena Hall. Come on back.
Have you suffered sports betting losses? There is someone who wants to fight for you to see you get back what you have lost to those sports betting companies. Michael Watts is a prolific trial lawyer with over $11 billion in total recoveries for his clients. And now with sportsbettingclaim.com, he'd like to help you. Michael has been a leader in some of the largest and most complex cases in the country, from defective cars and tires to damaging drugs and medical products. He has always represented the rights of individuals harmed by large corporations. His efforts recently resulted in the recovery of billions for individuals who lost their properties to fires carelessly caused by electric companies and others. Michael knows that sports betting companies preyed on and manipulated consumers into losing their life savings, and he wants to make them pay. If you have suffered financial hardship as a result of online sports betting and would like help seeking compensation, please submit your claim information for evaluation at sportsbettingclaim.com. Michael Watts is focused on winning for you. sportsbettingclaim.com.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you from Senior Care USA. The average funeral now costs over $10,000. That leaves your loved ones the burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay your family up to $30,000 to help pay for your funeral and other expenses. There are no medical exams, your rates will never increase, and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless of your medical conditions, as long as you make your premium payments. Get up to $30,000 in final expense insurance. Call now for free information. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 800-399-6879, 800-399-6879, 800-399-6879. That's 800-399-6879.
Special alert for consumers struggling to pay taxes. There are new tax regulations not published. We have the inside track on your new tax savings. These programs are designed to help struggling taxpayers like you. The COVID relief programs are gone, but there are new programs to help struggling taxpayers, and we have the inside track. Call now, and we'll take you through these new programs. These taxpayer savings programs have never been available until now. Get out of tax trouble now. It doesn't take weeks. It can happen in one phone call. Call now and get the inside track to get rid of your tax problems.
Call the tax helpline now. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. That's 800-949-0039.
It's okay to give your heart away to me, 'cause everything I have breathes so hard when I breathe.
That is the dulcet tones of our in-studio guest, the lovely and talented Lena Hall. You can see on YouTube and Twitch.tv. She's here to promote Season 2 of Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV, where she plays the part of Allie, John Hamm's sister. Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure. Anything to bring me home.
I just, yes, let's talk about that first, because you're from San Francisco.
I am born and raised in the Haight-Ashbury right here in San Francisco.
Upper Haight, Lower Haight.
What is it? We're in the Upper Haight.
You're in the Upper Haight.
Yeah,
So more
yeah.
towards the park.
Yeah. Kind of
Um,
where it all happened, where all the hippie stuff happened.
So Mad Dog in the Fog,
Mhm.
watching soccer there as a youngster myself.
Oh yeah.
Stanion, what's that? What's the bar there on Stanion?
Oh, I don't.
Well, whatever. I'm talking about bars. What was it like growing up in the Haight?
It was awesome.
Noisy?
No,
Really?
not at all. No, it's really fun. It would be the Haight Street Fair, the Haight Ashbury Fair that would happen all the time. Those were really fun. I remember I would go to, we'd hang out on Haight Street all the time, and I even worked on Haight Street at like a kid's store.
Second-hand kid store?
Yeah, my whole life basically, my whole childhood life took place in Ashbury. My dad would take us if they had a concert, like a free concert in like Golden Gate Park. He would take us or take me and put me on his shoulders so I could see what was going on. And that's how I saw Jefferson Airplane for the first time. I was really little, and it's really cool. It's still a cool place. Like the Haight Ashbury is still got the vibe.
And you
Still
had
vibing.
entertainment in your bones with your mom and dad, and the connections with the ballet. In fact, I'm going tomorrow to see La Sylphie, the one with all the tartan and all that. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah, have you heard that one? It's
Yes.
an old Parisian one.
Yeah.
Tell us about that background of sort of being in quote unquote show business as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I was born into the ballet world, basically bred to be, a ballet show pony. And and it's interesting because my whole life I was so surrounded by the creative arts everywhere because my parents' friends were all, amazing artists in every respect. My grandfather, he was a painter. So I grew up like very wealthy in the arts, just saturated in it. And I was deep in the ballet world until a little later. In high school, I decided to like pursue what my sister was doing, which was musical theater, and because I saw her do like a production of 42nd Street, and I was like, I have to do that.
And that's Callie.
That's Callie, my sister, sitting right next to me.
Off
camera. I was also raised with every type of person around me, so there was never, I was exposed to everything and everyone.
The diversity here.
Yeah,
is awesome.
amazing. And so I'm very grateful for that. Although when I was in high school, all I wanted to be was something normal, like an accountant or
Really?
Yeah, and I wanted to live in like a beige house with nothing in it because the house I grew up in, it's still the same. It's still there in the Haight Ashbury, and there's paintings that were done high on acid and ceilings that were done high on all the things, like, all the artwork and stuff. Everything was done in an altered state, but that made the house so special. But
You grew up in a black light poster.
correct, I did, yeah, and quite literally. I was sharing on Instagram, kind of cleaning up the house a little bit, not taking things away, but just cleaning it, and sharing like my dad's room where he was forever and had collected so many things, and just
recently passed.
He recently passed in August, yeah, and it's nice, like it's fun to share that with people because it is such a special house, full of stuff. I mean, there's a Ruth Asawa sculpture that she did for my parents. Like she made a Ruth Asawa sculpture for one of my father's. Ruth Asawa made a sculpture for one of my father's ballets, and then she gave them a sculpture after, which I think is really cool. So there's a lot of that in there, and so growing up, of course, I wanted to be opposite. I wanted to do something. I wanted to be in a beige house where everything was put away. There was no stuff. It was like pristine white couch. That's kind of how I've envisioned my life. But I still ended up going into the creative space. I had no choice, basically.
Well, we're going to get to the show in the next segment, but I just want to talk about your fantastic theater background, because it's one thing to make it off Broadway, and then it's another thing to be on Broadway, and then it's something to be Kinky Boots,
Right.
and all the other great shows that you've done, and winning a Tony. I mean, do you sometimes think about how you just wanted this uncluttered minimalist existence, and then here you are on Broadway.
Yeah. It was the path of least resistance, interestingly enough. So, I after high school, I had no real plans to go to college, but I did want to figure something out. I didn't really know what I wanted for my life. And then there was an open call for Cats tour, and a friend of mine just called me, and I went and I booked it. And so at 18, I was out on tour. And then after I toured for a year, they moved me to the Broadway companies. So it was kind of this, to get to Broadway, it was definitely like I went with the universe as it was taking me a long journey.
So it found you.
Yeah. And so that was the path of least resistance for me. And it's been, it was really joyful and so much fun. And I love every aspect of it. But there was a point where I needed to kind of decide what I wanted my life to be, at least, and then just kind of focus on making that happen. So it was around the time when I had got my tonsils removed when I was 26. I was doing Tarzan on Broadway, and I was in the ensemble, and I was kind of feeling like I wasn't into the show. I wasn't feeling it, and I didn't know why, because I was like, if I'm on Broadway, I should be happy. Like, this is a dream. And so I ended up I was like, oh, it's because I haven't actually figured out who I am, what I want to represent in this industry, and what I want to do. So that's when I started focusing on TV film. That's when I started focusing on things I really wanted, like the type of music I wanted to sing and how I wanted to sound, or what I sound like. It was always kind of, I was mimicking what other people were doing, but I was never really finding my own voice. And so, over time, I discovered my own voice. I discovered the music I loved to sing, and I discovered kind of I was who I wanted to be as far as in this industry, like what I wanted to represent, and what was most authentic to who I was, because I was kind of fighting it when I was younger, because I was never a huge fan of musical theater. I like musical theater. It's really fun, but I was never a huge fan of it. And I always thought maybe it was a little cheesy for me, or there were just some things that I wasn't so 100% sold on. But when I discovered the show Hedwig and the Angry Inch, which was the one I won the Tony for, that show is based in all this old, all the music is sounds like old Iggy Pop, David Bowie, and that genre speaks to me, and that show really spoke to me a lot. And that show, funnily enough, is about finding who we really are.
Great stuff. Let's go to a break. When we come back, more with the lovely and talented Lena Hall, of course, season 2 of Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV. Right now, episode 3 coming out Friday. We'll be right back on Sports Byline.
Hey, airline travelers, let's say you have a problem and you need to change or cancel an existing airline reservation. What do? Well, Skywatch is a free service that can help anyone with any airline reservation fix it. Whether you want to cancel it, change your dates, or add passengers, we can help fix your airline reservations so you get exactly what you need. We've updated our computer database and now have access to every airline around the globe. So now you can make one phone call regardless of who booked your airline tickets, and we'll change it, cancel it, and fix it for you. We know the insider secrets to fixing reservations that the airlines don't want you to know about. So if you need to cancel, change, or modify an existing airline reservation, call Skywatch right now. It's a free call, so let us fix it for you. 855-325-5647. 855-325-5647. 855-325-5647. That's 855-325-5647.
Sometimes life changes, and the house you once loved becomes a burden. Too many repairs, too many memories, too much to handle on your own. If you'd like to sell your home fast, we can help. At the Home Buyers Hotline, we can help you sell your home as is. No cleaning, no showings, and there are absolutely no hidden fees or real estate commissions. We'll pay a fair price for your home in cash. Whether you're downsizing, handling an estate, or just ready for peace of mind, call us. will help you walk away from your problem property in no time at all and get you the cash in your bank account with little hassles. If you'd like to sell your home fast, as is, we can help at the Home Buyers Hotline.
Call Want to Sell Your Home now for a free quote to sell your home in any condition. Call 800-950-3143. 800-950-3143. That's 800-950-3143.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8223. 800-690-8223. 800-690-8223. That's 800-690-8223.
The sun shines over me.
All right, that's a little toe tapper there. Very good from our guest, Lena Hall. Tittle back with you coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. Lena Hall on camera on YouTube and Twitch.tv. She's in season 2 of Your Friends and Neighbors. She plays Allie, and Allie plays the guitar and sings. And you do that in real life, and you have a new album. Tell us a little about it.
I do, yeah. It's an album that's been percolating for like over a decade. I was in a band called The Deafening, which was like a hard rock band, Guns N' Roses sounding. It's very funny, tongue in cheek, and I did the dumb thing of dating the guitar player, who is also the songwriter, right? And then we'd have some wild late nights, and we lived together for a while there, and it would be late at night. We would write these songs together, and of course, then we broke up. The band broke up, and I didn't talk to him for a while. But then the pandemic happened, and we started talking and becoming friends again. And I was like, you know what? We wrote all these songs. We should do something with them because they were really cool, and it wouldn't be something that the Deafening would do. So it's like, why don't we finish them off and do this? And so I came up with the name Lullabies for the End of the World. And at the time it was the pandemic, so it really did feel like that. And put together like the saddest songs that we had written. And it tells a bit of a story. It's kind of like the beginning, the middle, and the end of a relationship where you meet someone and they change your whole world, and then you kind of go off the deep end with them and you turn into someone you don't know anymore. And then when it breaks up and it ends, it's like a complete disassembly of what the life was that you had built together, and you have to start all over again. So that's kind of what the end of the world represents. The end of the world could represent the end of the actual world if you want it to, but more it's like the beginning, like who you are as opposed to who you end up becoming after this relationship, how it changes you, and then to reassemble yourself to something new after that relationship has completely disintegrated. So it's a bit heady. It's a concept album. There's no like bops. You're not gonna like bop around to it and be happy. It is a sad album. It's deeply personal. But I am working on another album called It's a Bop, and it's gonna be all bops, like literally tongue in cheek, fun, like dancing bops. But this was something that it had been sitting around for so long, and it needed to happen. And so I was just waiting for the perfect opportunity to release it. And I thought before season 2 happened would be great. because I do play a character in Your Friends and Neighbors. I play Allie Cooper, which is John Hamm's little sister, and she's a singer-songwriter, and she's struggling with mental illness, and the best way that she can express herself is through just playing these songs at a local bar, and that's how she makes her living, and that's how she deals with her life. And so it felt like a good time to release it.
Allie is one of the only characters that I find likable. Now, the thing is, it's a great show. You don't have to like everybody. There's great plots and everything. But season 1, there are a lot of things you could relate to, because with your ex-husband, your character's ex-husband, people, I think, have either been in a spot where they couldn't let go or someone couldn't let go of you. And that was the whole dichotomy. And then this season, like just last night, I saw episode 2 where you said, I'll be over here sweating my balls off, as you're now going to be a substitute teacher. So that's kind of a nice little arc going this way now.
Yeah, we wanted to show, what she's like when she's got her stuff together, right? When she's a little put together. And she's awkward. She probably shouldn't be teaching kids because she's got no filter. She has no filter. She'll just say whatever she wants, and so she's kind of terrified of these kids, and also like being judged by them. And she's also terrified of how she's going to react to them under the pressure.
Your niece and nephew are there too.
Well, yeah. My nephew goes to school there, and there's many things I could do to mess it up for him, for sure. But
now, speaking as you as a kid, I remember growing up Catholic when the Pope came to Candlestick Park.
You remember that?
Yes.
Oh man.
No, I'm a lot older than you. But no, I don't remember your part. Sorry. No. But you were destined for stardom. What did you do when he came to Candlestick?
I know. So this is in 87.
Yeah.
And I was 7 years old. And my dad he choreographed this whole opening welcoming thing with his ballet dancers, one including my mom. And so we were there at all of the rehearsals. And then my sister, she was in girls chorus, and they were singing this big thing for no? Is that wrong? Dad put her in the Oh, okay. So my dad
Notre
put
Dame
her in,
Victoire.
Yeah, put her into the French chorus, and she sang in the chorus. And then, to my recollection, so I was only 7 years old. This is what I remember, is that I was there at one of the rehearsals, and there was a trio of young kids who were singing, and I was singing along with whatever they were doing. And one of the kids couldn't do it, and so someone was like, "Well, she was singing," and so then I got the job to do this, like never having sung in front of people before. I had danced in front of people, but I'd never sung before people. And so, yeah, it was like I sang in a trio of kids for the Pope, and I peaked at 7, and I've been trying to live up to that ever since. I want to sell out Candlestick Stadium again.
Well, it's torn down.
I know, exactly. Do that.
Let me ask you this, because, and this is something maybe that's just weird about me, but when I was that age, I was in a chorus, and we were on TV for this California state competition, and Bill Bixby, but I was not, the star. I was in a chorus. I just remember ever since then, and I've been in broadcasting over 30 years, I've never been nervous speaking in public or singing karaoke. And some people say they'd rather die than speak in public. So I'm asking you, when you were at 7, were you a nervous wreck, or did you kind of think, oh, I'm getting a little buzz from this?
I was not a nervous wreck. I had more courage when I was young than I have now. My courage level was just like, I could do. You want me to do it? I'll do it. Like I was like doing an 8-minute dance solo in a kids ballet group that went to Japan, and I was without my parents. Like, so I was very ballsy as a kid, and I had a lot of gusto, and I was just way out there. It was only until later that I was taught that maybe you have to be nervous, and so now I'll get nervous like the first time I ever do something. I'll definitely have nerves there. But after I've done it maybe once, twice, then I feel a little bit more comfortable and the nerves kind of go away. Unless someone tells me that I should be nervous, then I'll get in my head. I'll be like, I should.
Were you scared flipping backwards over the couch in your Princeton hoodie?
No. I felt like it was the best way for her to exit that scene was to just disappear behind the couch. And the best way to disappear behind a couch is just to flip over it.
Right. Before you go, what do people now? Listen, I can't give everything away. And the episodes come out on Fridays, episode 3. And you know it's a huge hit when they put it on Friday because that's the kiss of death in network TV because people are out on Fridays. So that shows you how well this show is doing. So is there any, the James Marsden arc, of course, is brought in. Are there any teasers or you just have to like zipped up completely?
Gotta kind of keep it zipped up. But I will say this is a really, really emotionally strong season.
More than last time?
Ugh, yeah. Yeah. And, you know, for many reasons, personally and also character-wise. So it was a really intense season. And so I'm curious to see how it all kind of rolls out and how people respond to the show. I think James Marsden is absolutely fiery on the show. I mean, he's so good. He's so fantastic. And he's such a great counterpart to John, you know. It's funny because you're like rooting for John Hamm's character, but he really is like the anti-hero. Like he's an anti-hero. Like he's doing terrible things and then you have you know, James Marsden and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Like he's terrible.
Yeah.
Like
there's something wrong there.
Yeah. It's great. It's great. The way the whole thing just works out. And of course, my favorite episodes are usually the ones that I'm very little involved in because I love what John Hamm gets up to. Like my favorite episode in season 1 was when he was at that club raving with, you know, Nick and Barney, and then they ran into the finance bros and they were all like doing drugs and like talking and having a good time. And they end up on the golf course. This is season 1. And like that was my favorite episode. I was barely in that episode. I love that episode because I love when they show people's true, you know, when the faults, their faults, you know, so strongly, and the faults really come out when when you're drunk or doing drugs or whatever.
No doubt. And I think it's amazing that you get to play a character in Allie who's a singer-songwriter like you are. You get to perform in a bar for TV, and yet you perform in real life. So before we let you go, once again, Fridays on Apple TV, Your Friends and Neighbors, and where can we get the album?
Oh, yeah. So Your Friends and Neighbors, Apple TV. And then also I release the songs that I perform on the TV show so people can listen to them. And then you can also stream my album as well and all the other music that I've recorded. I have a lot of music out there, and it's all on all of the streaming platforms. Just look up Lena Hall, and that's Lena spelled with an E, not an I.
Very good. Lovely to meet you. And Callie, thank you so much for coming in.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great stuff. Coming up next, Sascha Gardner. We'll be right back.
This important consumer alert is from the Credit Repair Hotline, a national service designed to help people improve their credit scores. Are you paying high interest rates because of your credit rating? Wouldn't you like to be able to qualify for a better car loan or mortgage rate? Would lower monthly payments give you more financial flexibility? If you're finally ready to fix your credit problem, you need to call today and get a free consultation from the Credit Repair Hotline. In one fast and easy call, we can pull your credit rating and show you real solutions how to improve your credit. And again, this is part of a 100% free consultation. Learn how you can save money on everyday purchases by having a better credit rating. And it all starts with this free phone call right now.
800-413-6214. 800-413-6214. 800-413-6214. That's 800-413-6214. Packages start at $29.99 a month with signed agreement. Restrictions apply. Speak to a representative for complete offer details. See Vivint.com for license details. Terms and conditions apply.
Homeowners, if you're looking for the best in home security and smart home technology at a price you can actually afford, we have great news. Now you can get Vivint's award-winning home security systems starting at about $1 a day. U.S. News and World Report has recognized Vivint as the best professionally installed home security system of 2022. And right now, you can get Vivint's home security technology for about $1 a day. Plus, get free professional installation from a licensed technician. Protect your home and loved ones for as low as $1 a day. Call right now for your free home security consultation.
800-918-6189. 800-918-6189. 800-918-6189. That's 800-918-6189.
If you're serious about investing in gold or silver, Allegiance Gold will give you an additional $5,000 in free gold to add to your portfolio. They can help you buy any amount of gold or silver, even roll over your current IRA into gold. They've helped thousands invest millions in gold over the years, with prices that are some of the best in the industry, with fees that are fair, reasonable, and transparent. Protect your wealth with gold. Save on your gold or silver pricing when you buy from the top-rated Allegiance Gold. Invest in gold or silver today by calling Allegiance for your free gold guide. And learn about the $5,000 free gold offer with qualified purchase. Call now.
800-413-1937. 800-413-1937. 800-413-1937. That's 800-413-1937.
Look at me. Look at me. Don't look at anybody else. Don't look at the fat-ass losers or freaks. You look at me!
Rick Tittle will fight anyone listening to this.
Oh my gosh, that's elaborate. Welcome back to the show. Rick Tittle with you, coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. We're waiting on our next guest, and when we get our next guest, we will have her on. Have him on, I should say. So yeah, I just went in the hall and had a picture with Lena. You can check it out on my Twitter or Facebook. And the interesting thing is that in that show, they really want her to be drab and depressed and no makeup, no shower, extra large men's sweats. But she's, you could tell how wonderful and charming she is in person. And she's actually really pretty. They just, and that's the role. The role is, we've got Olivia Munn and Pete and others. We don't. You're going to be fine as you are. All right. Rick Tittle with you, coast to coast and around the world on the American Forces Radio Network. We've been catching up with the directors for the new season of Untold on Netflix, and it's been absolutely amazing. The Death and Life of Lamar Odom. The chess one was incredible. And tonight, very looking forward, it is out now, Untold Jail Blazers, about those early 2000 Portland Trail Blazers. And joining us now is the director, Sascha Gardner. Sascha, welcome to the show. And the first thing I thought of when I heard Jail Blazers was not jail, but it was just Rasheed Wallace getting a tee like every other game. And then I looked it up, and it was like every other game. It was like the all-time record, right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of records in the NBA that are kind of insurmountable to the human eye, but this one is, I think, definitely never going to be touched. Rasheed couldn't help it. He's a very passionate guy, but I think a lot of times he maintained that the refs were wrong, refs were cheating, yada yada yada. We saw the Donahue scandal. Maybe he was right in that regard. But I know a lot of times he kind of did it to kind of rally the troops. He didn't really feel bad about punting a free throw or two if he felt that kind of galvanized the guys around him after giving up like a 6-0 run or something like that to kind of, gear up and steer the course correctly. So I think a lot of that stuff was raw emotion mixed with a little cerebral strategy. And I think people will hopefully come to realize that Rasheed's one of the smartest players that ever played the game. Like, he asked his teammates and coaches, he thought about the game on a different level. So, yeah, Rasheed's going to be Rasheed.
Yeah, he's a tremendous player in the paint. There's no doubt about it. So what was the dynamic? Because, you think of Damon Stoudemire and Bonzi Wells, but, Portland, the Rose City, it's got a little stank on it, but it's not Motown or New York or Chicago or Boston. Was it kind of, how did the fan base take to the troubles some of the players were getting into?
Yeah, I think, when you think back about how the Trailblazers were introduced to the city, you have a city out there in the Northwest that doesn't have any other professional sports team. And here this team comes along in 1970, and then they win a title in 77. And like one of the most romantic ways, we were all romantic about sports history, and just the way that team kind of hit fire in the playoffs and going down 2-0 to Dr. J and the Sixers and rallying back to win 4 in a row, and Bill Walton becomes the god. And then obviously the subsequent era with Clyde Drexler and those two teams that went to 2 finals in 3 years in the early 90s. I think you're setting a kind of standard and something that this city came to expect. And here come these guys who are radically different in terms of their disposition, their culture, their upbringing, how they play the game of basketball. It's much more abrasive. It's much more in your face. But they were incredibly talented. If you look back at kind of their record during this era, kind of the Witsit era, I would call it, from like 94 to 03. This team won the 5th most games in the NBA. And it's often kind of viewed as a team that they couldn't get out of their own way. Maybe if they weren't getting all these sessions or smoking marijuana, maybe they would have won the title. But they were up 15 in the 4th against arguably the greatest team in my lifetime, not helmed by Michael Jordan, those 3-peat Lakers. And, they should have gone. They were very close to getting and probably winning a title, and maybe they could have continued. So I think that it's a lot of culture shock. It's a lot of they didn't really know how to kind of understand these people, and vice versa. I don't think Rasheed and Bonzi and Damon and the team kind of knew how to kind of fit in as well. And so it's unfortunate, but I think if you grew up as a teenager or, anywhere between like teenager to your 30s watching this team, I think this is the Portland team that you remember and have great fondness for. And when they came back for the reunion last year, it showed. I was there in the stadium, just unanimous applause and standing ovations for these guys. So I think hopefully this quote-unquote ugly chapter can finally be closed.
Bonzi Wells, it got to the point where he was even getting booed, and he did not like the fans, or I shouldn't say that. He just said the fans hate me. So I don't know if he hated him back. But why was it especially Bonzi that kind of directed their ire towards?
I think for Rasheed and some of these other guys, a lot of their behavior or off-court transgressions were kind of isolated and maybe directed towards teammates or directed towards opponents or directed towards coaches and referees. But Bonzi, that quote in John Wertheim's Sports Illustrated article where he basically just said that, we're not going to worry about what the fans think. We're NBA players. They're going to come and pay us and ask for our autographs regardless. Again, if you ask Bonzi, he maintains to this day that he was misquoted. And I actually reached out to John Wertheim just to kind of see if he had the recording of those conversations, and unfortunately couldn't track it down. But even if it was true or not, I don't want to, I can't really speculate there. But what I can say is that it was directed towards the fans, right? And so I think that is what kind of put up a barrier between him and the city. And from that point on, he was just persona non grata. And no matter what he did, it was ever going to be met with support from the fan base because you're going at the fans. And it's unfortunate. It's something that he said kind of hung over his head for the 20 years since then. But again, I just go back to that reunion. The minute they introduced him at midcourt, he got a standing ovation. So, and Bonzi and I have had some sidebar conversations after he, of course, had seen the documentary, and he told me that he got emotional watching it. He was tearing up a little bit, and I'm that's kind of what you do. It's kind of why we make these things, just to kind of give people an opportunity to revisit perhaps a bad memory and make it into a good one. And I'm just glad that everybody seems to be in a good spot now and able to kind of move past this.
I know you got to run, so real quick, last question. Even as a Warrior fan, I like that left shrimp. I like the UNLV guys and Augman and Anthony. But I wanted to ask you real quick about Mike Dunleavy, because how did he handle all that? Because he's he's a former player, but a pretty straight-laced guy.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a coach at the finals. We're talking about a coach of the year winner with these guys. I talked to these guys about the differences between Dunleavy and Mo Cheeks and everybody afterwards, and it's interesting. Like Rashid jokes that Dunleavy's Bobby's guy, and Rashid and Damon kind of had different opinions. I think there's some not resentment, but just kind of going back and watching the 2000 Western Conference Finals. Maybe we shouldn't have called the timeout what we did in the fourth quarter. Maybe Damon should have played some more because they couldn't buy a bucket. I mean, you're talking about 13 missed shots in a row, and Damon's like, I know I'm not as good of a defender as some of our bigger guards. I can get buckets, so put me in, coach. And so I think Dunleavy did the best that he could do. I think he's a great coach. I think he commands respect. He's definitely more of a disciplinarian and a sterner presence than Maurice does with these guys. But I think ultimately he did what he could. He got this team so close to winning a title, and unfortunately, to that 2000 Western Conference Finals, everything just kind of fell apart. And I think that they definitely thought that unit was very cohesive while he was coaching.
We've been speaking with director Sascha Gardner. Make sure to check out Jailblazers, part of the Untold series on Netflix. They're all so good, and I'm not going to jinx it because this one is good, and it's out starting today on Netflix. Sascha, congrats on the film. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, stuff. 1-800-878-PLAY. Email Rick at sportsbyline.com. This one is from Scott. Rick, did the Wings draft AZ Fudd just because it's Paige Becker's girlfriend? Well, I think you could ask that, except that AZ Fudd was going to be, for most people, the consensus number one. It wasn't like Caitlin Clark sure thing, but a lot of people pretty much thought she would be the one. But yeah, and they're in a relationship, intimate, committed relationship. They played together at UConn in 2025. And I think this is, in a way, I guess it's good for them, and in a way it's also horrifying for them. And not just because you shouldn't work with your spouse or significant other, but they're so public about it. They're both hugely famous. It's not like AZ Fudd's girlfriend is the 12th woman on the squad. It's Paige Becker's, who is, in the top 5 of jersey sales. And so Holly Rowe on ESPN immediately, how about playing with Paige? Fudd said, I'm excited to play a game with Paige. She's an incredible person, an incredible player. It's going to be fun. And so this whole thing about, and by the way, the Wings back-to-back years at number 1, and the Mavs getting flag. What's up with Dallas and all these hoop number one picks? But apparently, even though it just came out that they've been together for quite a while before that. But, look, Bud was absolutely one of the players in the conversation for the top spot. So to answer your question, no, I don't think that's it. When you say that Fudd is one of the best three-point shooting prospects ever in the women's game, she's already 23, so she can help the Wings win immediately. And she was on the big boards, but Fudd and Beckers met in 2017 when they were in high school and they were trying out for Team USA. And Fudd said, I wasn't impressed with this skinny little girl because I watched her play, and then I was like, oh, I have nothing to worry about her. Like, I have a better chance of making the team than her. They both made the team, and then she said she realized how great Beckers was, and they remained close, and then they committed to UConn together, and she said she's my ride or die. That's what Beckers said of Fudd. So I feel bad for them that everybody knows about the relationship. Because now when one of them makes a bad pass in the heat of the moment, it's like, come on, make a better pass. Uh-oh, they're breaking up. You're going to get dumb crap like that. But on the other hand, I'm sure it's fun too. All right, let's take a break. We will come on back on Byline.
Keep listening for details on how to get up to $300 airline credit. Sky Holidays introduces a one-of-a-kind air credit program. Our buying team got a little too aggressive in getting hotel and air deals, so now we have to liquidate our prices. Here's how. Whether you want to go to Paris, Las Vegas, London, Atlanta, Hawaii, or anywhere else in the world, we have amazing deals. Book a selected hotel and we'll give you up to $300 credit. Now you can book a vacation and get a free credit to use towards airline travel. We'll book both airline and hotel with one simple phone call. We have access to most airlines and deals on thousands and thousands of places to stay. Call right now, book your hotel rooms, claim your airline credit. You can change or modify it at any time. 800-256-4816. 800-256-4816. That's 800-256-4816.
I am an American veteran. I'm proud to have served this country. Helping veterans is something all Americans can participate in, and it's as simple as donating an old car that you have sitting around. When you call the Veteran Car Donation Program, they'll explain how their program works, and then arrange a time they can come and pick up your vehicle for free. Running or not, it doesn't matter. They take cars, trucks, motorcycles, or vans. Show your support by donating your car and get a tax deduction in the process. Call the Veteran Car Donation Program right now. They'll come and pick your car up for free, and you'll get a tax deduction in the process. Call the number we're about to give you right now. And God bless America.
800-887-1097. 800-887-1097. 800-887-1097. That's 800-887-1097.
Special alert for consumers struggling to pay taxes. There are new tax regulations, not published yet. We have the inside track on your new tax savings. These programs are designed to help struggling taxpayers like you. The COVID relief programs are gone, but there are new programs to help struggling taxpayers, and we have the inside track. Call now and we'll take you through these new programs. These taxpayer savings programs have never been available until now. Get out of tax trouble now. It doesn't take weeks. It can happen in one phone call. Call now and get the inside track to get rid of your tax problems.
Call the tax helpline now. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. That's 800-90039.
What would you say you do here?
Well, look, I already told you. I deal with the customers so the engineers don't have to. I have people skills. I am dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
I'm waiting for the chance.
Rick Tittle will fight anyone listening to this.
Oh, not so fast. By the way, I was just looking at MLB payrolls, as I do, and we're having the highest combo. It's $1 billion on the diamond with the Dodgers and the Mets playing each other. $1.07 billion in payroll. It's the first time that's ever happened. If you think about this, if you take the combined salaries of Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Tucker, Juan Soto, and Bo Bichette, that's more than 14 teams' entire payroll. You could take MLB's 9 lowest teams, put them together, and they wouldn't reach what the Dodgers and Mets have spent together as well. And game 1, Dodgers beat them 4-0. Mets are reeling. The Mets couldn't even beat the A's. You just think, if you're Steve Cohen and you look at the Dodgers and they spend $500 million and you're like, oh, wow, back-to-back champs, Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, now Tucker. They just keep adding, and it's like, what about us? We had Soto, and we lose Pete Alonso, and we can't even make the playoffs? Playoffs? Yeah. So one is an example of how money helps, and the other one shows you that it's not always a panacea. I'll panacea you tomorrow. Aha! At 9 a.m.